subtilis.
Stupid microphone mute.
Oh, see, we were talking about...
You missed the great revelation. Like, we
were talking about Latin.
We were talking about ancient society.
We were quite literally having a conversation about ancient Latin.
Yeah. The difference between memento subtilis and memento subtilis.
Correct.
And how some believe... Yeah, they think the Romans pronounced their eyes with the high
To go back to the beginning. Memento subtilis. Don't put too fine a point on it. Say I'm the only bee. Anyway, hi guys. What's up?
Stuff. Also things.
It's always me.
With
I'm always
the
like, I'm
Tellison
Oba
stuff,
doing my show, but I'm not doing my show because actually I'm Chris here with Skyward Star and we're doing, the Fireside.
Not Oba.
So y'all,
Chris.
yeah. See, I'm not wearing the dope hat.
No. So, did we start on this side last time?
We did.
All right,
Nice.
let's start on this time.
Actually, I think we may have started this last time, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I was sick yesterday, so I actually really haven't done much of anything. I've been working in the player's guide today, however.
Likewise.
I'm not going to do anything else until it's finished, so...
That actually sounds like a good idea.
That does, however, mean that part 3 of the Angler story is probably not going to make it this month.
It's all right. I'm gonna try to fulfill our story obligations.
That's good.
I'm working. I'm trying.
That's good.
I'm trying.
But,
you
yeah,
said you
so
had a
that was...
story with an artifact behind it, too.
I do.
Yeah.
And, oh, dude. So, I mean, you gave me a lead-in.
Yeah.
My map
Sorry,
table
it's all
right
good.
now has a pile of artifacts on it, all related to Telliston and all cool stuff. Okay, go. So yeah, player's guide,
Yeah, we're going to have a player's guide.
rock and roll.
Decided after giving certain sections a reread that they need more information. So there's probably 10 more pages that need to be written before I feel comfortable calling those systems done.
Right.
For example, how hallucinations work.
Yeah, because they have to be both legit crossover and not.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I understand. There's a whole sort of madness / spirit damage sort of thing that has to
Yeah, most of that's
overlay because it's not
most of that's
exactly
written,
illusory.
But I wanted to go back and blow it out because at first I was kind of playing coy,
Right.
I was like, this is what basically happens, and the rules will be handled by your narrator, and that makes sense because the player doesn't need to know at exactly what moment, what type of hallucination might happen.
They're encountering, right?
That's way more, the storyteller, the narrator's job.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But at the same time, the way I was writing it, it was basically like, you could go mad. Good luck, kid. And I'm like, that's not going to cut it.
Yes.
That's not going to
What to do?
Yeah.
So, now I've gone, hey, look, going mad generally falls into these categories, metaphysical damage, psychological damage, I forget what the other one is, but, and hallucinatory damage, phantom terror. It's phantom terror,
Phantom terror.
dread, and soul scarring.
Would that make an interdimensional being a phantom menace?
No, because they wouldn't be a phantom.
Oh, okay.
They would be real. So that would give you metaphysical trauma.
I see. I see.
Metaphysical trauma?
Yeah. Soul scarring.
Soul scarring. Are there any real life examples of that? Because right now the only
PTSD.
thing I was gonna say PTSD, but is that more psychological scarring? Because you did say
You know how in Die Fiber, in the color out of space,
Yeah. I like that.
had the color out of space changed you forever?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that bleeds into the corruption system, which is the physical component of the same sort of scarring.
Yeah. Though I don't know if you've read it yet, it's the same kind of cosmological terror that Junji Ito does with his story Uzumaki and Spirals.
Oh, I don't think I've read that one.
You told me the gist, but
If you guys don't know, this guy who I'm talking about, Junji Ito, is a manga artist who is inspired by H.P. Lovecraft in the sense that he does cosmic horror and he tries to make mundane things seem terrifying. His magnum opus, I was told, was this 3 novels thing called Uzumaki. And Uzumaki in Japanese means spiral cake. Basically what happens, I'm not going to ruin the story for you, is some man becomes obsessed with spirals and collects everything a spiral can have on it, like cups, clothing, shit tons of things. his wife does the exact opposite and becomes deathly afraid of them until the point where I think she kills herself, but I don't know. And then the town just divulges into spirals until it becomes this whole, like, sort of cyclopean Cthulhu-esque nightmare world. It's
Would it
really
be, would it be a
interesting.
spiral zone?
I was kind of wondering.
A spiral zone?
Yeah, if it might be a spiral zone. Yeah.
But give this guy a look. It's Junji Ito, and
Sounds pretty cool.
he's a pretty good horror author and artist.
So, yeah, the art was pretty cool as well. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. Oh, see, there you go.
Ah, okay. Thank you, Zero.
That's funny.
Yeah, see, Zero seems to know what it's
Awesome.
about. But yeah, I've likewise been working in the player's guide. I have just to inform you guys that I haven't forgotten about them. The Brog shots are actually, I have 3 events kind of accounted for, but I'm waiting for him to get the map done. I've actually decided I want him to have the map done so we can do some sort of a
Pin in the map?
yeah, a pin in the map, so it's like a photoshopped version of the map, and we'll go, this is where this archaeological site was. And because they're archaeological sites and these are small sites, they're not significant things.
Well, and archaeology isn't perhaps
Well-funded.
enshrined the way it is today.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
right. Even so, even archaeologists today are doing a lot of postulation, a lot of extrapolation.
I
from
just meant that the
positions.
sites are probably very well maintained.
Yeah,
I understand,
yeah. And also the point of these Brog shots are not to give points of interest for people
we
in
don't
the
have a
world.
historical society out there
Saving what's
saving.
left.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm also with these Brog shots not trying to, unless you wanted me to,
Sure.
to place a pantheon anywhere.
Right.
By pantheon I mean the building.
Yeah.
Right. Like
You mean a Parthenon?
a Parthenon. Sorry, you're absolutely right.
There's a
Like
pantheon too.
I think the
Pantheon?
Pantheon was a different place, though.
That it was.
okay.
It was on the top of it.
Pretty sure I saw Whitesnake.
In fact, there were more than
That
one.
could be.
Oh, at the pantheon, yeah.
But
Like that's not even a joke. I'm pretty sure that's an Orange County concert venue.
But the the point of these Brog shots are not to give points of interests or things that are like big and fantastic. They're more supposed to be like, hey, this farmer found, while was trying to dig a rock out of his field, found that it was more like a foundation, and then he found a bunch of horse skeletons there. What's up with that? You know, what could that mean, and what does this one archaeologist postulate could be the historical significance of these dead horses and this foundation right here? And they're very small things. I'm not trying to give things for any player to be like, I want to go to the horse mound. No, I'm trying to give players more of a feel of, hey, so I know about these horses right here. This horse breed has a very long history in Valor, and also it's known to be a proud breed of horse too. You know, you have to treat them kind of, what's the word? How would you treat a princess?
Gingerly.
Not gingerly with.
Depends on the princess.
No, I mean like if you were a maidservant.
Well, if I were a maidservant, I would
Deferentially.
I would be exactly deferential.
With honor? Yeah, with care?
Certainly.
Yeah. But it's something like that. It's more about the...
With kid gloves.
Well, you would handle them with kid gloves.
Yeah, you would.
With kid gloves.
With
With
kid
kid
gloves.
Yeah. Then you'd have to go slaughter a baby lamb just so that you could go be a horse husband.
So you could see red?
I think that's.
So you would see red.
It's beyond the pig.
If you can name that band. Okay. But it's more about putting more life into the setting, because I believe that the setting should be kind of treated in development-wise like a character should. It should have bits of history where you can be like, this
Breadth.
colors the setting.
Depth.
Depth.
Should be a world.
That's what
Should
our
be a
stories
world.
are about. Honestly.
Exactly.
About adding those little flavory bits.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
exactly. What
exactly.
it
But these Brog shots here are not about giving you interesting things that you might want to do. It's more about like, hey, somebody did the boring shit that gave me all of this background information. It's like,
It's not even necessarily boring. So, for example, there's a place we pass when we go out to South Dakota called Register Cliffs and Wheel Ruts.
yeah,
That's what it's called. Wheel Ruts and Register Cliffs. Register Cliffs has a kind of sound, a name, a flavor.
Yeah.
Right? Until you know what it actually is. And then wheel ruts is exactly what it is. We were discussing this yesterday. People tend to name stuff
It's like ruts in the ground.
based on what it actually is. And when we have cool names, Sequoia. What does that? That's magical. No,
means
it actually
It means
means
tree,
these
yeah.
trees in a Native American tongue, and you don't speak that tongue, so it
Yeah,
sounds
it probably
magical.
means like big tree or
But it-
white tree,
right.
but
Names
yeah.
tend to be things that they are. That's how humans tend to do shit.
But-
so wheel ruts.
Yeah.
It turns out during the Oregon Trail pioneer days, people went along this particular path a lot. This was the best way to get up this little hill, and it was this sandstone sort of smoothed area. So
Yeah,
they left
so
ruts.
they would have rode ruts into the sand.
And now they're there, and you can go see them. And that's in real life, and it's just out there in
That's
northern
interesting.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Register Cliffs, cooler name. Honestly, though, what it was is it's the same sandstone area. It's the same outcrop.
Mm-hmm.
And so alongside the place where you'd pull your prairie schooner up the hill,
Oh, I see.
they would cut.
It's
They
a
would just cut their
graffiti wall.
name.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Bob was here 18 whatevs.
That's kind of
and
neat, though.
so is that magical?
It's funny. We were totally going
There's
to
a
do that.
lot
in
of
Revival.
something there, and we
Do you
were.
remember with the marking
With the
system?
marking
so that
system.
you could be like, I was fucking here, bitch.
And it would erode over time.
I really like.
We
I-
used to laugh because we figured it would start awesome and then degrade into like, here's a dick butt.
I really actually liked that because it sort of reminded me of the old NetHack system.
Oh yeah,
With
absolutely.
all the different
Absolutely.
characters, you could leave messages in either dust, though if it was dust, it would get written away pretty quickly. So you
For certain, Sam.
you were never really likely to see your dust messages. But if you
Exactly,
had
Sam.
chalk, which I often did because I like playing archaeologist because I was introduced to NetHack by my father. Archaeologist is his favorite
It's my favorite
class.
class.
I play archaeologist and barbarian because I can generally play barbarian to the point where I can make him into
Tourist.
basically
I play Archie
an
and Tourist.
archaeologist.
Archie's
but-
my favorite. Tourist is
You just charge it.
tourist is a credit card. You can pick any lock with the credit card.
You can. It's
That's
fucking
what it's
amazing.
for.
But yeah, barbarian
And the camera, flash.
and archaeologists are my favorite because I can get the barbarian to a point where he's almost an archaeologist. I just need to find a pickaxe.
Yeah, you'll never get the hat either.
No, I won't get the hat.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Leather fedora.
Well, the leather fedora does matter if you bless it multiple times.
Oh, I suppose you're right.
It's the same
Because
benefit.
it becomes leather helmet.
Well, it doesn't just become a leather helmet. It also
And an
becomes
Aquator
for the-
won't rust monster.
Yeah,
it.
one rust
Yeah,
monster,
exactly. Yeah, it's the same benefit that you get kind of in the Dungeons of Dreadmore if you pick Archaeologist, which is one of the reasons why I do, is you get a fedora,
I'm sure it's inspired.
but
Oh,
totally is.
Dreadmore is an absolute.
Yeah, but it's because you
fun
get a
if you've never
fedora,
played it.
and there are stations in which you can bless stuff, and because it's just a fedora, I'll constantly bless it over and over and over and over and over again, even if it gets a mark down, because that one mark down isn't going to matter to the plus 5 different blessings that I got on that one fucking glowing
It's my very
hat.
best hat. Never leave it behind.
So yeah, that's the kind of place that you're
Yeah.
delineating in the world, and
Exactly.
register cliffs.
And
It's
I
just
already have
history and flavor.
I already have 3 sites planned for these brog shots in the future. What I've then moved on to is the player's guide, like Adam is working on. And what I'm working on is stuff like skill descriptions and the stuff that you would see on the about individual skills. So if you go into the D&D book and you were to look up acrobatics, you would see, maybe a good 2 or 3 paragraphs about the stuff that you can do as an
what
acrobat.
it means to use acrobatics.
And a description in sort of character, and when I mean in character, it's in the tone of a game that's being played with all the background stuff happening as well. So it's, you were accosted by a mugger, said the narrator. You have no escape. You have no means of escape, and you must defend yourself to defend what little you possess. Player says, I draw my longsword. Then the narrator says, all right, prepare to engage. And then in brackets it says, this is how, explains how you calculate who would go first. And then I would go, of course, because this is a description on how to use a longsword. Narrator says, luckily you're the first to make a strike. Then it would be a description on how you roll to make a strike. And then he would say, that's a devastating blow. And then it would be a description about...
A mighty blow.
A mighty blow.
Exactly.
Mighty
and then
blow.
it would be a
Mighty blow.
Do you have to say it every single time you shoot it?
Mighty blow. Really? Mighty blow.
Oh my god! Every time I do it, so I have this magic hilt weapon, right? And so every time I have to strike somebody, I have to shout "Mighty blow."
Just like that, in fact.
Yeah.
Mighty blow. Yeah.
So I can't use my sword if you cast silence on me.
Correct.
Wow.
You
yeah.
can't mighty blow.
You can't mighty blow. You can just fight.
Okay, that sucks. Interesting magic item though, but yeah, that's what I've been working on right now, and I've written a couple of descriptions right now. Longsword being one of them, which is the reason why I jumped to that so quickly. But yeah, I'm working on that, and basically
mortified in a single strike.
well said, Sail Guy.
Mortality clarified.
But yeah, I'm also working in the player's guide because honestly, we have a lot of the stuff there. We just need to put it in a book, see what's missing, fill in all the stuff there.
There are a couple of key holes that need to be filled in, but most of it's really just about getting the words on the paper.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can start playtesting
Correct.
during the joint nights, which will be
no, on the Sundays.
awesome. On the Sundays?
Yeah,
we play.
Sundays,
We're going. We
when
this
there
is
Sunday's
isn't
my
an
game.
Oracles of Telestar.
Oh.
every other Sunday
Yeah.
at 3:30 Colorado time.
Oh, okay, at 3:30. Because I'm like, you're jumping in on
2
me.
p.m. Pacific.
Sorry, it's isn't it 2 p.m.?
1 p.m.
It's
Pacific.
1 p.m. Pacific, so it's 2 p.m. That's right. I'm sorry.
We have to get up.
Forget my blonde. No,
It's 1 p.m.
it's the
Pacific,
same
it's
time.
2
It's 2 o'clock.
here.
We want to fill the slot that Oracles holds on the opposite
Oh,
Sundays.
okay.
With the game.
No, I think that's actually okay.
Because
That's
then
even more awesome.
They will
than
have
what
the
I
lore
thought
piece
was
of
before.
the Fireside and the
game.
the events of the game itself.
Yeah.
As stuff they can talk about. Furthermore, we want to build the party out of more than just you guys. We
Oh,
want
yeah.
to grab
Yeah, we
some
want
of you guys
you
to
guys.
play. And this game
That's
that
even
will
more
play
awesome
test
than I thought
our
it
game,
was.
build our
More awesome
world,
than
and
awesome.
all that stuff. That's the goal. Which is actually why there's
Don't
been,
forget to be awesome.
why there's been a turn in focus towards hammering out
The player's
the player's guide, the pieces we
Plus,
need
it's time
to
to
begin
effing
doing
ship
this.
something, so let's get some stuff.
We need
done.
exactly. So that's really why that focus is there, so that we can get some of you guys into a game. We can start playing. We can start making this actually polished and functional and a shippable real ass game. To that end, I have done nothing with the pen and paper this week except talk about it with these guys and talk about maps. Otherwise,
Well, and yesterday you were also like college professor guy.
yes, exactly. And I didn't work particularly on the project yesterday, though I did work on some of that cool stuff. Because yesterday I gave a speech to a Game Design 1 class at community college nearby.
Which college, by the way?
Front Range Community College.
Oh, really?
Front Range Community College.
Not local, the campus down in Westminster.
Oh, okay.
Which is way bigger and
It's
has
the-
like all your typical college campusy stuff.
It's the nice campus.
Yeah, like they have like a game room and like a big
Yeah.
place with a fireplace for kids to sit and study. And
Yeah.
Also, I felt old
Why?
because while I am a student at Front Range Community College, I was there in the capacity of a lecturer. So I talked to the class for an hour and a half or so, and then did question and answers for another 2.5 hours or so.
Damn.
Yeah, I think it was like three and a half total hours.
Yeah, he was gone for a little bit.
I was
surprised.
talking to them, 2 or 3 hours. It was a long talk, but I was there as a lecture, kind of lecturing capacity, and then I left, and I'm walking out. Kids are walking by me, and I'm like, kids feel like high school kids, like. I mean, and I know I have some perspective.
A lot of them were last year.
Right,
Like,
and then, so this one dude, while I was walking by, he's got a kind of a cool shirt, I look at it, and I smile and nod at him, and he goes, "Hello, sir, how you doing?" And I was like, doing all right.
I was doing fine till just now.
Till just now. Exactly. Hello, sir, how are you? Old. I'm old. I'm gonna go get dabbed up in my car. So yeah, I was lecturely yesterday, telling people about the trials and travails of the game design endeavor as a professional, and that was fun. Likewise, I've done some work on the map. I have hours of video that need to be ported so I can start feeding those back out, and I did some cool stuff, some of which is remarkably cool stuff, and that should be going out soon.
You bring those videos by this weekend.
Okay. I meant to bring the Surface today and dump them all for you, but I didn't. Oh yeah, and then I'm also writing fiction.
Yeah, you're working on the monthly story.
Fiction, which is related to some of the objects that
I hate to, because you said you were only working on the player's guide. Does that mean you're doing the newsletter, or should I learn how to do a newsletter and do that?
Newsletters aren't difficult. I can show you how to do it if you really want to.
No,
Correct.
Well,
there is the newsletter.
It's just that the newsletter needs to
newsletter.
get done.
I think we're gonna have their day.
Those
for
got
the
shifted
newsletter.
off, so that's actually not late yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
That's good to
next
know.
weekend.
That's actually good to
This
know.
coming weekend. Right.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah.
Sweet.
As far as that,
As far as justifying our job goes,
that's the stuff.
are we
I
justified?
did. I got some glow in the dark glass. This
We
week.
talked about
You
that.
showed
We
that.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I played with some.
You played it on
the other
camera.
night.
Yeah, you showed off the red and the blue with your UV
lamp.
lamp.
with my little UV lamp, and I got my little UV lamp, and that thing is sick. Such a cool toy. Yeah. So, glow in the dark glass might be coming.
Don't you have glow in the dark plastic for?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
You
Somebody
sure?
I
3D
know.
printer?
Yeah.
No, none of that glows.
Okay, somebody I
Oh,
know
I thought
does.
we did.
Mm-mm. Some exists, but I don't have any.
Okay. I was about to say because it's getting
Bean
dusty,
assaults.
and I hate to see it get dusty.
Someone does homeworks.
I might.
Yeah, that'll have to be cleaned before you print on it again.
I
Yeah,
mean,
just wipe it.
honestly,
That's white down. It's a little
Yeah.
I would
Plastic-
make Legos
plastic
out of
right
it.
here.
Lego.
That's it.
It's just because you haven't been building anything.
That's a
I'd
crap.
want to build Legos.
You would literally be breaking the law.
Okay, so they wouldn't be Legos, but they would be
You want to build construction blocks.
Blocks.
Oh yeah, I dug it.
Yeah. And actually, I think Lego does have a 3D print. Like you can
I dig
order
what you're
Lego
saying.
designs via 3D printer, like official Lego ones.
Yeah, but you would have to buy them straight
Yes,
from Lego.
absolutely. You would have to buy them from Lego, but I think you can order Lego designs, and they're
Yeah,
like,
and if you were going to say,
great.
hey, I want to buy some Legos, they would be mad at you.
Yeah, because it's
oh,
not.
because it's
the
not
plural is just Lego.
The plural
Yeah.
of Lego is Lego.
Yeah.
They are Lego bricks. If you'd like to add an S to something.
Yes. Absolutely. I know this. It's because it's Swedish, isn't it?
It is Swedish, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
might be. Or
It's
Swiss.
Lego.
I think
No,
it's
it's
Swedish.
not Swiss. Yeah.
Lego.
Lego.
The same people behind all those weird words in IKEA.
Fluger.
Burfersflugen, yes.
I have one of
Check
those
your piece.
upstairs. It's a nightstand. It's really good.
So, do you guys feel like we justified our job? Because we're moving on to another really interesting part of our show.
We would much rather talk about, say, I don't know,
Sky Pass?
What's the set? Is it the lore
time.
section?
Soundboard. You need to plug that in so we can do that. Mega time.
Exactly.
Yes,
Rose.
pretty sure
Exactly,
that's
Rose.
true, Rose.
You know that Lego is selling slippers now?
Yeah, I saw them.
Mhm.
They're adorbs. My kids are all
Post-Lego.
post Lego. Yeah.
I love Legos though. Legos are awesome.
Yeah, throw them all over your own floor then. You'll learn.
No, you keep them in a bin.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I know. I kept
I've
mine
asked
in a
for
bin
a
until I gave them
desk,
to my younger brother.
and I've asked for Lego. Is there like some like
Lego
300
desk?
Yeah, is there like some $300
Certain it
customizable Lego desk that you could maybe get me for a
I'm
computer?
certain it exists, and I'm certain it's more than $300.
Yeah, I don't think you could build a desk out of $300 of Lego.
It depends on Lego.
I don't think there's enough Lego.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you could build one out of other structural material and then adhere
A
the
surface
plates
on the yeah.
and then just dump Lego on there and be like,
Or just get the terrain tiles and tile top
like
of the desk.
like the little moon craters.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I liked those. They were fun.
But yeah, Sky Pass, home of the Brogine Empire.
Empire.
Not an empire.
Who's the Brog Emperor?
There is no empire.
I know.
Brog himself.
Home to the Brogine Pope.
There is no pope.
Suddenly it's like monks
Home
in power
to-
armor, and
Home of the Brogine people who seem to have an interest in everybody else's civility.
That is as much the Nodensian
yeah. I don't know that that's a fair comment.
No, I'm taking the most
clergy as it is
I'm
the
trying
Brogine.
to take the most offended by Brogs being around sort of perspective I can.
I sort of find it difficult, I think, to be offended by the Brogine.
Really?
You find them inoffensive.
What about the Falkreek who
Falkirk?
Yeah, the Falkirk who don't read. By read as in don't have letters, and who are now.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you implying by saying they don't read?
I mean that they
merely that they are
don't
not
read.
literate.
Yeah,
okay,
literally that they're not literate, and that the Brogine have sort of now brought into that they are a competing culture, and where there are cultures competing, there might be some abrasion somewhere. As smooth as the Brogine seem to be on the outside.
I see.
And that's all I was trying to
I don't know
name
that
there.
competing is the right word so much as coextant.
That's actually a good word.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Coextant?
They're not at odds.
Okay.
The Brogine, and that's kind of what I'm saying. The Brogine aren't really at odds with any group except for...
It's not like they're forcing people to read.
Cultists of the Great Old Ones.
Yeah.
Cultists of the Outers.
Wizards.
Wizards in general, because they think they're dangerous.
Yeah.
But so, like, that's not an individual culture, per se, except for, I mean... I suppose there are some people that do magic as part of their religion, and the Brogine, while they wouldn't go to war to stomp them out unless they were maybe doing something with the Great Old Ones or Outers.
Right, if they were a danger to everyone.
You've implied something that leads another question, but continue.
So, like, they wouldn't... I cannot see the Brogine motivating an army against an elder.
Could the Brogine motivate an army? Like, do they have a fighting force?
Okay, we're diving weird here.
And
There are an armed group of Brogine fighters. They have been described before.
They have. That's true.
Inquisitors?
That's a loaded name.
Okay.
There are,
Just like
however,
hacker is a loaded name. Sort of exotic.
Noted members of Brogine orders who pursue their loyalty to Brog by investigating
Yes, I said
events
coextant.
in the world.
Okay.
How about that? They are very inquisitive.
Paladendi?
Inquisitive. I like
Inquisitive.
that. They ask questions.
They want to know
Paladendi?
They seek.
more. They read the book.
They would like to know more.
Okay.
Want to know more?
So all of these people are probably not allowed in the city, right?
Give Time Life way too much money.
You're right. Exactly.
Because ultimately I just wanted
Of
to...
Sky Pass.
Yeah, I wanted a little background on the
so
Brog.
let's start by
run the
talking
city.
about Sky Pass. How old is it?
Yeah.
Sky Pass is super old. I think I might have the founding on the timeline. I might.
Oh,
Or it
founding.
might actually be the beginning of the timeline.
Well, yeah,
So
I thought
we
it
know
was
it exists
uncountable.
before the sign-off.
Yeah,
It does.
exactly.
It does.
Because that's where they signed the agreement.
Correct.
Right?
It was. Absolutely. It was the Brogine's refuge, so to speak. It was
Something tells me
their abbey, and it was built there because of the solitude, because of the difficulty in getting there,
Right.
and because there they could house the annals of their knowledge, all of their books,
So
in
like
a place
the
where it
Radiant.
is unlikely to be destroyed by fire or wars. That because at the time when it was a very strife-loaded world, for lack of a good adjective. Shit was busy, and if you had a prominent fortress or city or anything on the plains, anywhere anyone knew about it and could get to it easily enough, you might get sacked by this or that person. Or if you were a Brogine, you had knowledge, and people knew that. And if you were looking for knowledge of
would make you a target
power,
for
you're a
certain
target.
cults and wizards and
Correct. So they found the most defensible place they could to build this.
I wonder if that's related to their prejudice.
And so yeah, the abbey
It's
is
like fucking wizards always stealing my books.
the abbey is essentially the abbey that became Sky Pass is essentially the oldest continually inhabited structure in Greyshore. As far as I can, even Anacotha, because there are no continually inhabited
I was just gonna
structures
say,
there. There are people who lived in the Falkirk for sure, in that area, and they have their homes and places that they've lived for centuries. Places that they've visited. But again, their homes are less permanent. They're not made of stone. They're made of earth and wood. So they have, they have a shorter lifespan before they are essentially rebuilt completely.
So how did Sky Pass go from an abbey to a city?
Well, those that knew that there was basically a place of refuge, generally the erudite or the learned, because in general no one else keeps track of the monks,
So,
right?
okay.
Knew that was there. during the darker times, people would take refuge there or seek to take refuge there, and some would be let in. After a while,
some, but not all.
well, there were the Brogeen have
Like,
opinions.
Dude, carved out of stone. There's only so much effing space.
And there is only so much space. But this grew, until they had a bastion, so to speak, of safety. Stone, walls, abbey, living areas, storage areas, etc. that served as a place where people could go. Word spread, people came. It kind of became...
Did the monks quarry the stone themselves originally? Like, was it...
Originally, yeah. And them and their workers.
So, it's like
they
monks,
own workers?
monks carving walnuts.
They don't own
and
them.
Stuff.
They just have, I need a stone worker. Do you work stone? Come with me.
Yeah, that might be how you get in.
Well, and so the abbey itself was built before things were completely fucked. As things were going bad, it was a retreat. So, I mean, the fall into the dark times, much like the real...
You're saying the Abbey was
real
back
fall
from
into that sort of
the
stuff.
time that there were kings on Grey Shore.
Absolutely. Like,
In the time
all of
shit.
the time
Kings
before.
of old.
That is
It wasn't like
damn
Rome
buildings.
fell and the entirety of Europe was like, well, I heard Rome fell yesterday, so, fuck it all.
Hey guys, Rome fell, so I'm tearing the church down. Sorry.
Fuck this road. Exactly.
Fuck this aqueduct!
It was more...
The sad part is that's entirely how it would work now.
It was much longer. It was a much... Yeah, I know. Like, for real, right? Haha,
Fucking
we
American
took over
fell.
this place. Let's throw all of this ancient art into the fire. Please stop talking about that. Hurts my head. God.
Better
Yes.
to sell it.
Better to...
At least that way it gets saved.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely true. In fact, in some of the art history I'm doing right now, it turns out that a lot of the stuff that we have from Rome was saved because it was misappellated as... misappellated, misnamed.
Yep, misnamed.
It was called some Christian hero, and so people preserved it. Yay! When in fact it was very likely this or that Caesar or
Yeah, I get it. I totally
hero. Yeah, and so just the fact that they perceived it as this holy thing for so long,
Get it.
turns out, not really, not quite the same.
Yeah. Grim.
So anyway, to get back to that,
Exactly, Sale.
the long slide into what we call the Dark Ages, the complete dissolution of histories and timelines and civilizations, was slow and long, and the Brogeen Abbey was built during that fall. So
They have books from back then?
they must.
Will they let people read them?
That's really unlikely, unless those people happen to be allied with the Brogeen.
Okay.
Right? You
You'd
could
have
be
to
a
gain
Brogeen monk,
You'd have to gain the trust of the church.
but you would have to have the trust of... Yeah, well, and so if you were going to talk about the ways of the Brogeen inside the Abbey, the library itself, I've even written about it a little bit, is segregated so that there's what you can read as a monk, and then there are sections that you're not allowed to read unless you
Right.
have particular levels of knowledge, and then there's sections you're not allowed to read. We put stuff in there because that's the don't read them books.
Yeah, because it's dangerous.
Because
and they
these are
can't-
dangerous.
They can't be elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the ones chained shut with padlocks and the stereotypical
Yeah, locked to the wall.
lock to the wall,
Yeah.
screaming tome. That would be in there.
Yeah.
So how big is Sky Pass? How many people live there? I guess that's technically two different questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's small because there's not a lot of land in the pass. So everything has to be built of stone, built upward, or built into the mountains themselves. So it's
Any
not as...
expansion into the mountains?
It would be very difficult at this point because they're pretty honeycombed. They've got that.
But I'd imagine the buildings have basements and
Sure, into the stone.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess you could go down further if you had the excavation technology.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
mean, if
you're
you-
basically digging out
If you
of
had the motivation,
rock.
if you were a smuggler, say.
Yeah. Or quarry or a
We've
mine
even written-
nearby?
There's
That's
yeah.
why I was mentioning.
Quarry or a mine nearby?
They are the quarry and the mine.
Well, yeah, but I meant, is there an active one where people are working?
Nowhere where people haven't moved in to live. That's what I was saying when you
Okay.
said expansion. I was like, well, there's really not a lot of space to expand without quarrying
Making
directly
the
into
space,
the
right.
space.
Well, yeah, nah, I just meant
Because
like
if
that
you quarried
place
a
over
nice
there
vault,
is a
someone's going to build into it
Oh yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, in general, at this point.
So
So decently
do, like,
sized,
private
not
mining?
but not big, not and no sprawl at all. I would have to. It's actually measured out on my map at home to scale.
Right.
But I don't remember what that scale is. But it's about that size.
It's about that size.
It is. It's definitely on the map. And I haven't done a calculation for how many people are there. Fewer people than Crown's Rock. Fewer people than Tide's End.
Yeah. Fewer than 1,400.
That's a valid question that Sal has there. Also, poll.
Yes, Polaris. Most structures are multi-story. That's very funny. It's pretty in the name of the road. I don't. I would not be averse to saying that perhaps some of these books have,
In the name on the nose.
arsenic on the pages. Yeah, don't lick your fingers. And yes, multi-story.
Tastes salty.
And yes, I have read that, and also Foucault's Pendulum, which I liked.
So that would mean that Skypass has less than 1,400 people, because I know Crown's Rock has 1,400 people.
Because
I named every single fucking one of them.
It's actually there's like 1,487 or something. I don't
Yeah,
remember the exact number.
something
It's
like
slightly north of 1,400.
Plus players.
Yeah, plus players, right.
Yeah.
And we know that Tide's
we
End
figured
is...
at maximum density, Crown's Rock would be an 1,800-ish person city.
Yeah, that was...
Every bed occupied, basically.
Yeah, every bed occupied and
Tide's
fully
End is
upgraded
larger.
too, because we had the city
Well,
scaling.
yeah, Crown's Rock couldn't grow much, though. Crown's
Oh,
Rock
yeah.
is a special case.
Okay,
Right.
I forgot about that.
And Skypass is
Skypass
smaller
is also a special case. It can't grow that
right,
much.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
where it is.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Skypass, though, projects power. It's a slightly different.
Unless
Yeah.
I learn how to be awesome and I
It
can
looks
build
like
building.
the mountain that it's built out of. It's stolid.
Yeah,
It's got
unless I'm
and
awesome and I
gray
can
and
build
made of
towers
homogeneous
on
stone.
sideways fucking... Until they learned that tech right there, building buildings on sideways fucking mountainsides.
They do. They have this.
Well, they can't sprawl until then, go all the way up the mountain and...
So to sprawl down the pass itself would be dangerous. A, the pass is narrow,
Yeah.
so there isn't a lot of wide space, but B, you'd be building outside of the wall.
Yeah, that's why you build more walls. Multi-walled cities are a thing since, Rome.
Sure.
Yeah, there's not a lot of space there, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
and you're
always-
above tree line, making living there in general require
Realistically,
logistics.
If you wanted to grow Skypass, you're going dwarven with it, right? You're delving.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best you could do.
Yeah.
And
you're
considering that we
limited
don't
by
really
structure.
live
Terrace
that
the mountain.
way, I don't see that working.
No,
Correct.
you could terrace the mountain, too.
Well, that's kind of how they did it the first time, right? But that's a massive effort.
Yeah, like the Japanese and the Chinese.
Yeah, or the Vietnamese.
Or the
Yeah.
Vietnamese, or all those Mises.
All the
Mises.
Mises.
Wow.
That was...
Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm terrible. We're all Eases.
Yeah,
We're all Eases
You're
here.
an Americanese.
Yeah, I am Americanese.
Yeah.
I'm a California.
A Californianese?
Actually, a Coloradan.
Coloradanese?
Are you a Coloradan? Or
Is that
are
what they
you a
call it?
California who moved to Colorado?
I'm a California that moved to Colorado.
I think they're all Ease. Californians.
Nice sale.
Recorded and recorded.
Wreck and rep, boys.
Oh my god. It's Latin that does it.
So what are the streets like? Like if I were
Cobbled.
at the gate,
Slanty.
if I were at the
Wait, they cobbled them?
whatever your customs pass through,
Just
is,
flatten
right?
them out.
Because I imagine if anybody has
Traction.
bad customs,
Ah.
let me rephrase that because that sounds wrong. If anybody has a stringent
stringent
policy, it's Skypass.
Indeed. They
So-
have a gate. You must pass through the gate in
So
front
I've
of a
been
person, be talked
properly
to.
inspected and interviewed, and I've walked through. What is it? What do I see? What does it look like?
Okay. The gates themselves, the walls, you can see the tops of things poking out from behind because lots of things build up until they can't really. And anymore. So you can see the tops of buildings. It's a lot of the same stone. It's a lot of the same like shingling. The building structure. The structures are all self-similar.
Yeah. What kind of rock is it?
But you can't really see
Granite?
it. Slate and gray stone. I was gonna say slate, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go look that up. I'm pretty sure slate only happens where oil happens, and so it's probably just granite because I'm pretty sure tops of mountains are almost all granite.
Probably not slate.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with granite. It's gray and it's hard, and the shingles are made from stone too, and yeah, lots of glass. But from outside, all you see is smooth stone and passive giant wall. 20, 30 feet.
So is the wall?
I've only ever drawn it. I haven't measured it.
Is the wall like a seamless carven wall, or is it blocks?
It's blocks. It's blocks dressed to look as seamless as they can make them.
Sure.
But if they're faced and
Just
dressed,
joints.
It's thick as well. It's about 30 feet deep. You have to go through this
wall.
because here's where they cut large pieces of it.
I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying, damn, that's a big ass wall.
And this is so that you can, when you're coming through, they can inspect you. They can look through your caravans. They can make sure you're not smuggling. They can check these things. And when you come out of the tunnel, because it essentially feels like this imposing dark, tunnel with torches lighting it, even in the daytime because no sun, right? Then you come into the city, which kind of breaks open in front of you. Tall buildings. The roads between them are cobbled and sort of narrow, cart wide, but they were custom designed to be cart wide. Cobbled for traction because if they were just smooth stone, people would be everywhere, and you couldn't bring your horses or your. And steep like San Francisco streets. So like, because you go up this side to the top, and then the top itself isn't wide and flat and open. It's just the flattest spot in the city, basically. And then it curves down the other side about the equal distance. So most of the city is on hills.
Right.
So, that's breaks open in front of you, and then there's buildings.
Morty.
The abbey itself is built
Morty.
into the mountain.
I need you to take these seeds and shove them way up your butt, and then we need to get through Sky Pass.
In fact, I had the map up over here, so I could tell you the name of.
But yeah, the church. I bet the church is
the names of the mountains.
The church is
the
really
two peaks
the beautiful
are above Sky
piece
Pass.
of
Sky Pass itself sits
Sky Pass
between these two peaks on the saddle.
Right.
Yeah.
So the abbey is built into the mountain going
abbey,
up this
not a
side.
church.
So yeah, if you were to project it flat,
They call it an
probably
abbey,
like
cathedral,
this
church.
shape, right?
Abbey.
Like
All Brogans
like
are
a
abbeys.
butterfly.
All Brogans are
right.
abbeys.
So yeah,
Take
so
note
they
of that.
Flap on either side like this.
All
and then as the mountain
Brogs
comes up,
are
like a butterfly,
abbeys.
yeah. And so this side is the abbey. This side is terraced into apartmenty complexes, inns, and more sort of residential areas for people that aren't the monks.
Yeah. Would you say the abbey is
Can you move
grand?
through the pass without
Oh,
entering
sorry.
the city?
No.
So are there any like old goat paths or any bullshit like that, or is it literally just?
There are likely an old goat path over the way. Someone might tell you there was.
Maybe.
Good luck.
Good luck.
It's really high.
Maybe for the
Yeah.
right number of sovereigns, they might show you that secret path, which they swear will lead you to the other side.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so it's
There
more of
might
a
be
myth.
ways over, and
It's like
just,
the Northwest Passage. Nobody's
Are you a
found
rock
it.
climber?
It's more like anybody who knows these routes is probably a smuggler, and so
Yeah, they're not going to make public knowledge about it.
Fire
Furthermore, they really will be things like goat paths, or in some cases, in one of the stories that has been published already,
there's an actual smuggler's
there's
tunnel.
a smuggler's
Oh,
tunnel,
yeah.
and it's a secret passage.
Mhm.
That I don't remember if it was purely mechanical. I think
And
it was a purely mechanical
The mountains
passage.
are like
Yeah,
this,
it's,
then they're very
but hidden.
likely little alcoves where I'm forgetting what exactly they are because mountain lions need more like flat land than what you've
Well, and
described.
most life
I would think
on this
like
mountain
more
will
like a
live
lynx or something
below.
would live up
Yeah,
here
is it hard to
trying
breathe in Sky Pass?
because it's thin.
Well,
You're
so I know
very,
there are
very
forts
high.
up there.
I have the actual
There are wild-
peak height, but it's in the book.
But you've said before that it's above the tree line.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
you have.
absolutely.
Or
I actually
that it
have the
peaks up
elevations
above
written down.
Tree,
at home.
isn't there elevation through the tree line?
I think I even
and then
gave
it
everyone
peaks
the
out?
elevations once on a couple of them.
No, I'm pretty sure Sky Pass is above the tree line.
Yeah, above tree
Period.
line. There are no trees.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
It's stone and snow
okay.
and sun.
Hey, what's up, Club?
And that's essentially it.
So you did say there
So
are billy
there's
goats.
not a lot
there
of
are-
animals. There might be some
What
high
is like
mountain
the
goats.
major predator up there, if there is any? What eats goats, or are the goats the top
The
things
goats
there?
are pretty, goats and lichen and birds.
Okay, goats are
You know?
the goats that I'm thinking of, the ones that climb up the Himalaya mountains.
Yeah.
They're top in their food chain.
That's what I'm saying.
There's nothing else.
There's nothing else up there. There's goats and lichen and
It's
birds.
the reason why they learned how to do that fucking ridiculous fucking hop thing. So I understand.
Yeah. So you're talking about that sort of terrain in general.
Yeah, if I was a smuggler, would I not want to see a goat? Would I like immediately turn like? Because I've heard some stories about some Roman traders who like saw some of those goats and they feared those things like the fucking devil because they
Kick
would
'em
kill
off the
you.
Because they kick them off the
Kick
mountain.
them off the mountain, bash you like if cartoon style. They would literally
It's theoretically
kill you.
possible, I'm sure. You know, rammy goat.
This it's just an interesting thing. Do the Brogs say like if you see a goat on the path up to our city, you wait a bit, don't mess with them.
Well, the Brogane probably just use all of the wide, safe, paths of transportation. They don't try to do any hinky climb around the mountain crap.
Yeah, exactly.
They just walk through their city.
It's their city. What are you looking at?
Just looking over at that screen.
Okay.
He's reading about Hylity.
No, there was a highlighted
Oh.
Discord. I was just curious. what it was.
Yeah. Okay. So there might be other ways around the
Is the
mountains,
town
maybe.
Clean?
Yes.
Yeah. How?
They have sewers.
Different question. You mean is there trash in the streets?
Yeah.
There are
Okay.
people that sweep the streets.
But where does it go?
They sweep it out and they burn it. There are also
They burn it.
Well, I discussed this earlier with
So they're like
maybe with Paul, maybe with Rose,
Switzerland.
maybe with both of them. No, it was Rose. They burn their dead.
Sure. Okay.
So there are, I don't want to call them charnel pits. There are incinerator pits where things are burned. So because it's more efficient than carting them elsewhere.
Sure. And there's no way to
And
bury
there's
them.
no
in
way
the
to
stone.
bury
You
them
have
in
to
the
store
stone.
them.
and you
So-
can use the ash
burn.
for alchemical means that don't require magic.
I don't know if the ash of people is good.
Not
for
people
that.
ash, I meant garbage ash.
Potentially.
Wait,
all I'm saying
are
is-
you saying they mix the people ash with the garbage ash?
I'm saying they incinerate the bodies.
I think it depends on the people.
And it does depend on the people. That was actually what I was saying earlier. The conversation I was having with Rose
And also,
or
if I was
Paul
an alchemist, I totally
Maybe
want
both
some
of you.
people ash.
was with regard to how they do things there in
I want some ash
Skypass.
from a person. That sounds like an alchemical
Had to do with
device.
incinerating.
Yeah, but not necessarily.
There are people who would have their body removed
not
from
magic.
Skypass and would pay to have it
It's
done.
not magic.
And
I
that's
don't know that that's true.
for various reasons. Yeah, they burn them.
Yeah.
And they burn the trash. And there are people that their job is to sweep the streets.
How did they deal with flooding and sewage?
How do they feed themselves?
They can't flood because there are very few recesses or places for
Well, that
water
doesn't
to
mean
go.
that they can't flood depending on the architecture. And
Well, actually, because of the
Gutters.
architecture you have already said, I know that they would have a flooding problem because of quarries.
Okay,
Because
They're too high up.
each building has a basement, which
Right.
means the water would go to the basement before they would go
gutters.
down to the hill.
This is how it's shaped.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you keep the water out of
You
the
keep the water
basement.
out.
Yeah,
the
keep the
basements.
water. Oh, what about the human needs too? And I'm sorry I interrupted your.
No,
No, in
it's-
some places- no,
so
it's a
along
good-
the same line of reasoning.
It's a good question. In some places, there are sewers that were cut by the people that made
In
them.
some places,
Some
they
places
just
there-
burn it with the incinerator? Well, they can't burn the pee, but they do the burning
Gutters.
shit as they.
Yeah, if there are gutters, they'll go.
Wait, in gutters? Are there Gardaloos in fucking Skypass too? Great. So the
Gutters.
only fucking civilized place I can get out of without fucking Gardaloos are fucking Tide's End.
Not Valor, right?
No,
No,
so did
Valor
we ever
and
discuss
Gardaloo.
Valor? Yeah.
And we also didn't discuss Anacossa's sewage system.
No,
Well, we did.
No,
It's scuppers. Remember?
Yeah.
I actually did.
yeah.
But we didn't say there were gardelus. We in fact said you probably. I don't think we discussed it at all.
No,
in Anacotha, you probably have a loo.
Really?
Probably have a toilet. Yeah.
Oh shit! Because they have running water,
Boom.
just like Tide's End.
Right.
Okay, so I can go to fucking
Tide's End has a midden.
Yeah. Well, they had.
Which is
It's
Right.
still running
almost
water.
like running water.
Right.
It runs
It's running
sometimes.
water for your
Yeah,
shit.
It runs twice a day. 4 times a
Skypass
day, excuse me.
in some places has sewers that empty into the gutters
Yeah.
outside of the walls
Okay.
because
That means there's a pocket of pretty foul dankness
Well,
in the mountain
consider
somewhere.
the pass
around
itself.
the wall, yeah.
And
actually
those that
probably
have seen the
helps
map
them
know
anyway.
this. The pass itself cuts up the side of the mountain. It has to have gutters down the sides.
Yeah.
Elsewise, it would flood.
Yes.
Like you must if you
Yeah,
ever
or
go
choke-
up a mountain.
Choke with snow.
Or right.
Yeah.
So the people that have cut sewers in Sky Pass cut them to vent out under the wall, and
Yeah.
into
And-
the gutter.
Yeah, the foul area probably doesn't hurt either, because why would you approach the wall from that side?
Ew.
Any just before anything else, is just a quick question that popped up in my head. Have they experienced any in history any earthquakes?
Memento YOLO. That's
Scrappy.
good.
They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know it was an earthquake. But is there seismic activity there? I'm just
Yes,
wondering
there
because
are
of it's a
earthquakes.
mountain area.
They have geothermal.
Oh, okay.
So yes.
Are there
So,
are
yes.
there holy springs or hot springs in
They're
which
hot
people bathe?
springs.
Oh, do they have a bath culture? Do they feel as if one
There
must
are
bathe?
baths.
Is that part of the reason
It's
why the
actually
place
in
is clean?
one of the stories I wrote. There are baths. And
Yeah.
the Brogians do like to wash, and they are a clean people.
Okay.
Consider the Brogians are the people that do their medicine
Physically.
physically. Right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they know that if your hands are clean, people don't get as sick.
Interesting.
They are more on that line.
Right.
They don't know about germs.
Yeah, but they have
know
an
that
understanding of
they have a
filth.
culture of
They're not like
filth,
full-blown
of
ascetic, though,
understanding
right?
filth. No,
Yeah.
not full. They just don't use magic, so they learn the other ways
Is
to
it
heal.
more of a
and this is something you
this
learn.
actually Adam has a question though, but that is
They
opened
use
up a
geothermal
whole like slew
baths
of medical
and
like
steam
Broggian
and
questions.
heat
Yeah,
in
we still
their
haven't gotten
abbey.
back to the original question yet.
Yeah.
In their abbey,
Oh.
How do they eat?
they.
How do you feed the people of Sky Pass
This is
in winter?
in winter. Yeah, you have good storage. You use your warmth to grow what you can grow, which is not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Potatoes.
You eat,
So they eat like mushrooms a lot.
they eat mushrooms.
Peat.
Um,
Not
Probably
peat.
not
Not
peat.
not
Probably
peat.
not
There
peat,
there is
yeah.
something. There's a type of moss you can eat
there are the goats, but
that
those
grows
are
on.
not plentiful.
Sure.
And they go below the tree line and hunt, bring their food in. Well, they did. These days they have people bring the
Yeah,
food.
it's sold.
It's basically just
Because
market.
there are.
What about
You have
during
said there
winter?
are smaller
Who keeps the
towns
pass
down
open?
there
Imagine if you were a trader,
Right.
you wouldn't want.
to go to Sky Pass.
Right, but that's 9
Well,
months out of that year.
You would
know what I
for
mean.
the money, but you wouldn't for the
Especially
difficulty
during
of
fucking
dangerous.
Ald
Yeah,
Winter.
it's very dangerous.
Ald
In fact,
Winter would be the
I-
worst.
I was
Right.
gonna.
No, Ald Winter's
High
when
winter,
it's
maybe.
fading.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure High Winter.
High
you
winter
just
would
don't go to Sky
suck.
Pass, and if you're in Sky Pass, you stay there unless you have a really good toboggan.
Right, and fucking lots of hope.
But yeah, I don't suppose.
Yeah, so
they
I
have to
imagine
hunt all that much anymore because
High Winter
there
especially
are
is all about storage
towns at the bases of the pass.
of what you brought in.
Sure, but if the pass is closed, they're still going to need food.
Yeah.
Right. There's a fishing town at the end of
Do
one.
do they grow their own food?
They grow as much as they can, but again, you're
No.
That's
so
like
like earlier,
potatoes.
Paul asked, is there like a greenhouse in the
yes,
city?
more than once. And actually, I think I've described this before. They do everything they can to maintain heat and sunlight to keep their homes warm, and so there's a lot of that rot.
Oh, do they do the heated
steel
floor thing like the Roman
with the
floors?
warm
Right?
air underneath, where they can get the steam from
Nice.
geothermal vents.
Yeah.
They do that to keep
Hey,
warm.
Thank you very
Um,
much. It's a Cretan thing.
Minoan.
There,
So
Fucking
There
nerds.
there are no Cretan bathhouses in Britannia.
they
No.
did it too.
No, they're not.
They actually did.
But the king of Crete was killed by steam, not by hot water.
I'm not saying that they aren't or aren't. I'm saying that those were fucking Roman baths.
Okay.
Likewise, there's a lot of glass. So there's tons of areas where it's
How do they get glass?
Yeah, where's the glass coming from?
They make it there and
How?
they import it
Out of what?
elsewhere.
Out of what?
Out of sand and fire.
Where do they
Where do
get
they get
sand?
sand?
From
At
the
top of
beach
a
at the
mountain.
bottom of the pass.
Okay. Okay, so they specifically ask for people to bring up sand. I can believe
Here's why.
this.
Because if
Yeah.
you build a glass framework
And they're a
on the top of your
knowledgeable
house,
sort, too, so they
it
would
will catch
ask
all
for
that
weird
sunlight.
things from
It will
traders.
create a microcosm
Oh, yeah.
inside of there, and you can
And
greenhouse.
we know they make glass. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying it's a long way to trek a bunch of sand.
Yeah.
Also,
Seems
That's
like
a-
we made the
that's a
glass
greenhouse.
down there and trekked.
Actually, I
It's a
have to write
Herculean
this.
endeavor.
They
I
have
bet you
a
they. I bet, in
greenhouse.
fact, in the beginning they did.
Do they do
Just
what your
because the-
buddy does?
Heavy.
The money per pound is way better.
To move
like,
the
as
sand,
a
yeah.
trader, you wouldn't want to move the sand. You know?
Totally right. That said, once you're at the top and you're an aristocrat and you have the money and you want some extra glass, you're going to just be like, make me some glass. And they're going to be like, it's high winter. And you'd be like, yeah, lava pool.
Yep, check it out. There's a toboggan.
So yeah, I'm certain that there are artisans there as well. Merely because the material is used so...
Yeah, and actually, Paul, given
Common.
that it's granite, they may have enough silicon just by grinding stone.
So
It is possible.
So do they do
The hypocost.
because you said they eat a lot of mushrooms. Do they do mushroom product stuff like mushroom leather? Like do they work the mushroom?
I
or
had
is
not
it just,
considered the mushroom leather.
Is it just for eating, and do they do
But I'm
what your
assuming
buddy
that they're
Mark
mostly
does?
for eating and drying.
Mark does, where it's
And
like
you grow
I
them
get
in
all this hay
plugs.
from probably
Insulated
down
walls.
here. Oh, that's interesting. Insulated walls. But
I don't know that they would have figured that
So-
one out, but
so they do mostly
It's
what
kinda
your
like
buddy
Blonde
does
Fall,
when
man.
Sort of.
what your buddy does when he gets a whole bale of 40 pounds of hay and he turns that 40 pounds of hay into 40 pounds of gold moisture.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That's actually probably pretty damn good. Depending on what mushroom selections they have, they could probably just feed themselves
they've been
on
doing it for a while.
mushrooms alone.
Mushrooms are a good protein source. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, depending on the variety of mushrooms
Gross,
there
man.
are, there's enough variety in the stuff that is in mushrooms that if you
Very
had a
likely
pure
there are.
mushroom diet, you could probably
I'll bet
pull it
you.
off.
I'll bet you kombucha is a thing in Sky Pass.
Really?
gross.
Okay, yummy.
Some sort of like spiritual tea.
Yeah, that or is a Falkirk import.
It's how they preserve their water.
No, that would be spirulina.
It's how
That's
they
true.
preserve
That's
their
right. Blue
water.
green algae all the way
Yeah.
on the lake.
So they already
So
have
true.
they already have crystal clear water, right? Because they get it from the snow and shit like that.
Well, and springs. Yeah,
And
we know they have
springs.
springs. So
And they do.
Yeah.
There are natural springs in. It's
Yeah,
another
so
But it's how they preserve their water for longer.
artesian springs, pushing up through the rock.
Yeah.
All the way up.
actually, I bet you.
That's remarkable.
Well, it's probably not from all the way down. It's probably from
Midway through somewhere.
fissures. in
Oh
the
my
rock.
god! If I was a Sky Passian, I would
Snow
sell
melt
kombucha
and-
as
yeah, absolutely.
as trail water, because as water that never goes bad.
Yeah,
Perhaps
does
you would.
kombucha go bad?
Not really. No.
Yeah, it really doesn't, does
No,
it?
it's a fermentation.
Yeah, I would sell it as a thing that would be like you want your water to become good. You need to wait before you can
throw
fill
this
it.
SCOBY
it's
in
actually
there.
completely reprehensible.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Sky
Yeah.
Passing
Yep.
water.
Made from
might.
Sky Pass rock glass.
Yep. Boy. No, I assume that if there's Sky Pass water, people are getting people to drink. It's more like Lithia water in Ashland, Oregon.
Right, yeah.
Mineralized.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
No, it's good for you. It's healthy.
Yeah,
the
it's
springs of
mineralized
Sky Pass.
and
Uh-huh.
kombucha. Sky Pass water is great.
That's like patent medicine. It's good for what
Yeah.
ails you.
Magical thinking is good business, but you know the Brogaines don't like magic, so
Yeah, it's not that it's magic.
it's not magical. It's more that it's healthy.
Well, I bet you the Broggies probably don't sell it. I bet you it's people who live at Sky Pass.
Right.
Who sell
Exactly.
the kombucha?
Yep, genuine Broggine tea.
Yep.
Frogs are like,
Very likely.
Besides the greenhouse and the abbey, what are some other hotspots, beds of social gatherings?
There is.
if I were a tourist,
No, I
and
mean,
we're going to Sky
yeah,
Pass,
big
why would I
places.
be there?
Just to see Sky Pass. One, just to witness it, because it's a
It's a
you know,
wonder.
it's a spectacular
Yeah,
thing.
let's assume that I've already seen the city as a whole.
Right.
I'm already shiny and chrome.
Yeah,
Right.
you've already gone to probably the highest
Yeah, what are
the
the
highest
buildings?
point in the
Where's
city
the
where
Golden
tourists are
Cabaret?
allowed,
Yeah.
so you can see the views
Wow,
because
it's
they
amazing,
are
right.
unfreaking
But what did I see and what do I
parallel.
want to go see?
Yeah, where's
next?
the Golden
You know what I mean?
Cabaret? We know about a greenhouse, which is a magnificent.
Well, there's more than
piece
one
of
greenhouse. In
techno-
fact, they're
Oh.
ubiquitous. There's lots.
Oh, there are lots. So there isn't
Top
just
in
like
most
one
buildings is what
big
you're saying.
greenhouse.
Exactly.
There
well,
isn't
the
like
tops of most
okay,
buildings.
okay,
exactly.
okay. So that's part of the aesthetic of the city.
city. It's
even
spectacular.
well.
Glass top towers.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a scholar
Yeah.
and you think that you've got
That's the
some
Abbey,
cause to, you
isn't
go
it?
see that. You go
Oh,
to the Abbey.
okay, yeah.
And maybe even be allowed to see the
Some of the
Are there
public
books in
areas of the
libraries.
library.
Are there
Yeah.
bookstores and other such? Like,
Certainly,
I'd
absolutely.
imagine
Scriptoriums.
Because the Abbey would draw scholars, I'd imagine there's a big scholarly tourism
Absolutely.
industry, for lack of a better term.
Well, yes. Yes.
Rare
so there-
antique books, sir, never seen elsewhere, straight from the library.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So there are books, there are scriptoriums, there are things like that. There are inns that are renowned.
Oh yeah. Is
for their
one in
just
particular?
because of
Yeah.
where they are. I wrote about it. It's
Oh,
in, I'm not going to pull the name off the top of my head because I don't remember. It's in one of my stories.
Okay. I just wanted to know specifically about an inn like that too, because the Brogine seem a little clean cut
Medicine.
Like,
you might go
razor
for
edge?
medical treatments. They absolutely have a rich tradition of illumination, because one of the core things you do as a Brogine is copy information. Write more text.
Yeah.
So their calligraphy is top notch.
What about weather? When does it start snowing?
It snows year round, though way less in summer than other times of the year. It begins snowing
Well,
again.
other times of the cycle. Yeah.
The cycle, so to speak, right? So I would say it begins snowing around autumn. It probably snows the last heavy dumper around early spring, young spring.
Yeah, or high spring.
Yeah,
New
or
high
high,
spring.
maybe, yeah. Before it gets warm, at which point
Amiable.
it still could snow. You're just in broad sunlight all the time, so
Yeah, so
much
it's
like
more
the
like it
Sierra
might snow that
Peaks.
day and then be gone.
And then-
or-
yeah.
yeah.
much like the Sierra Peaks.
Yeah.
For weather. Also, it rains when it's not snowing, and
How does
probably rains a lot.
how does the civil service work? So I mean,
There are
guards.
Brogine guards.
So what's the
And then
Yeah.
there are city guards.
Yeah, guards.
work
city
together?
guards. How does the government work together? Well, city guards and Brogine aren't the Brogine the government?
Yeah, the Brogine make the rule.
Well,
Right,
then
but
why
is
are
it-
there Brogine
is it
guards and
like-
city guards?
It's like
Because-
Crowns Rock.
Well, in that they're an Odensian
Well, no,
private guard.
Crowns Rock
Rock
is
has their
technically
own.
owned by the Brogines, but they don't administrate it themselves because that's a fucking pain in their ass.
Yeah,
Well,
that's not
wouldn't
what they're
they
about.
administrate their own capital?
No, so what
They
I'm
don't
getting at
see
is
it
that
that way.
It's
Past fight.
fucking Rome for
it's
the.
not though.
Okay.
It's not like that at all.
Oh.
In fact,
Yeah, and it's not the
the Brogines aren't an empire.
Oh no, they're not.
it's
an
not the
empire.
Vatican either, really.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah, they're not. It's no.
Yeah.
If anything, that's the Nodensians, right? That's not the Brogine.
Yeah.
Brogine just happened to be the ones who had all the knowledge, so they're the ones who brought everyone together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they're abbey. They're monks. They're not
Yes.
priests.
Correct.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you understand the difference?
No.
They want to be left the fuck
Yeah.
alone. so
They are
can do their
pursuing
thing.
enlightenment.
Yeah.
Right?
They,
don't
are
want
not
other people to
spreading
do
enlightenment.
their thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But. Oh, okay. So now I do get it. But what
So
about
much like-
the Dalai Lama?
much like
if
the church
everything was
owned
in
most of,
place, wouldn't he administrate?
Much like the church owned most of England at one point,
Yeah.
but didn't run most of England at one point. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Right. So, like, if you were to go, in 1390,
Yeah.
and you were to go to any random county in Britain,
Yeah.
right, most of that county is going to be a parish owned by the church,
Okay.
right? Even the houses the people live in, owned by the church,
Mm-hmm.
right? The church lets them live there provided they're willing to do things like keep the land, keep the peace,
Yep.
defend us against raiders,
Pay
Yeah.
the tithe.
right? So they don't care really how the village necessarily runs itself, provided it follows the rules that they set down,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I understand now.
right? So the villages would then self-organize, and
Yeah, and actually that fits the question that I was going to ask you too with the Dalai Lama in Tibet, if it was all in correct order. That's
both Rome, both
Rome?
rows.
Brogine. Braugine.
Yeah, brow.
it's it depends on who you're from.
Who's Braugines?
Yeah, I would.
I learned in shul to hate the Braugines.
They wouldn't be brow jeans though. They're two G's.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. They learned in shul.
It'd be broad jeans.
The Braugines. This is some new affected accent in
Rose.
Baylor.
Bragajin.
The Braugine. I learned in shul.
If
Shoe.
if you wanted to like put a name on the pronunciations, I would
Brugines.
guess that my pronunciation of Brogine is the Falkirk pronunciation. His pronunciation is Tides End or Crown's Rock. His pronunciation is probably Brog. Is probably the
Brog,
pronounce. Is
Brog.
is what they call
Brog.
themselves.
Char. They speak
Yeah,
up.
as I say, you go talk to a Brogade, and he's like, I can your speech.
Hi, it's Bragin with a hey, the bro. It's bra.
With all apologies to my friends.
Scottish and Irish, because you couldn't
Yes,
tell the difference
exactly.
in the hack brog he's throwing around there. Brogue.
Shit, I had a question. Oh no, it leads into administration. So talk about administration in the city
Agreed,
of
Darren.
Sky.
Yeah, who has the political power in Skypass?
Who has
And I don't
political
mean
power?
who
Does it
passes
work in
the
neighborhoods
big
like
rules.
Crowns
I mean, who
Rock
has the
does?
political power?
Yeah, what goes
Right.
on?
The council, who is appointed by the Broguines to run the city.
So you got to be in with.
But so they are administrating.
No,
You
because
gotta
they're
be-
a secular council.
Yeah, you got to be in with the Brogs in order to be on the council, though.
Correct, but you don't have to be Broguine.
No, but you
you
gotta
just have to convince them that you're going to run their city.
You got to
the
be
way
Brog
they want.
friends.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, very much.
Okay. So
A Broguine Brogue.
how does
Indeed.
this go on? So
That's so-
tell us of a typical political evening in Brog.
Every 10 or so years, or as necessary by death,
Yeah.
they supplant the previous with new elections.
Well, also
And
like
they elect
laws
them.
and
Election is not a good word
Do
because they
elect them
don't
the way
go.
The Catholics elect a pope?
Stone.
You got
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
Stone.
they go.
Talk about it.
They go watch that tower when the smoke turns white. Someone's going to be coming out to take a job,
Okay.
and that's exactly right.
Well, but laws and
Though those
how
people, the
everything's
candidates are
administrated.
offered previous to the vote in a discreet manner. They're informed that they're under consideration.
Yeah.
You know, it's not you're going to be our man. It's hey, we would like to consider you
If I
to be the head of commerce.
Can I refuse?
if I own a home,
Absolutely.
well, actually, let me backtrack. Can I own a home there?
In Skypass? Yes, on the eastern side of the city.
Other side from the Abbey.
The other side, yes, all of the stuff that has been built since, that was built essentially for the people that were coming to Skypass to say, look, we don't want magic, we just want to, can we hide here?
So
The people that made it a city.
do I get any influence by being a homeowner?
No, really. Follow the rules and you contribute to the economy. And if you own a business, then you can get a name, but not a name politically so much as a name locally. You open up a magic shop, you're likely to get run out of town by dudes with maces.
I could see how that would be the case.
or great swords.
Probably more than one group of dudes, for that matter.
Yeah, depending.
And when he says maces, he doesn't mean maces like the small one-handed little mace thing that you would see a Havens Porter or a Crowns Rockian. He's talking about malls, because I would like to, as the person who's delved very deeply into the weapon
Into
history,
weapon lore?
into weapon lore, the Skypassians, the Broguine,
Skypassian?
yeah, the Broguines,
Skypassers.
Skypassers.
the Broguine,
That's the
if-
name of their sports team.
Skypassio.
the Skypassers. I like that. The great sport team.
it's a Skypassio sausage. These are great. They
Skypassio.
You know their soups are cold, right?
Yeah, exactly. They have. By the,
Skypassio.
we haven't gotten there, but you did talk about food. There is a strong culture of preservation. So salamis, sausages, jerkies, chutneys,
Yep.
jams.
Yeah.
Because you have to bring the food from somewhere else
Yeah,
there
so it's
for
all
the
about
most part,
lasted. Do
unless
they
you
like
grew it
smoked
hothouse,
stuff,
and
too?
now you need to make it last.
Do they also like
Absolutely.
smoked
Yeah,
things?
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's-
All of fermented, canned, smoked.
I bet then
Preserved
if you
food.
could get your hands on it,
Tinned.
a roast would be the most expensive
a
luxury.
fresh one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
somebody
damn.
would have had to bring a live pig.
You have to bring an animal up and slaughter it there.
Okay. That affects the economy.
Oh, absolutely does. It occurred to me while we were
Actually,
talking about
that's probably true.
it. Skypats.
But yeah,
expat.
but as a
I like-
person who has
I like
delved
sky
into
pats.
weapon lore, let me just tell you that the Brog are nice, and if they ever did have a history of being warlike, they are the stereotypical tanks on the warfield. They wore armor head to toe. They had weapons about as tall as they were. They were your stereotypical Croat fucking I'm going to kill this freaking barbarian.
It's a scripture
for-
sealed to their armor. and,
yeah,
you know.
scriptured sealed to their
Not
armor.
for magical
kind of-
purposes.
No.
These are
that's-
reminders.
They're
Yes.
kneeled in their faith. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're the kind of people who
So
you
they're the
don't
sort that
wanna
have the thing on the
fucking
back
mess
of the
with.
shield that is a reminder that you are the fists and you are the strength.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're the kind of people who would take your puny, tiny, Valyrian sword and crush it in their hand
No
and then
faith
sunder it by just
in magic.
swearing.
to support their arms.
Oh. Oh, no, absolutely not.
That's how you
Yeah.
evolve to be so brutish, for lack of a better word, or so associated with just force and defense, and there's no art in crush that.
Yeah.
Right. And there's also there is an art in crush, but
There's
likewise there's very little art in be as protected as possible from physical things, right? So they would be the ones that developed the complete plate mail.
I wouldn't be surprised. Just like how in Croatia there were I don't know if there were Catholics, but there were Christian monks, quote quote, who would take the gold earrings of the Turks who used to try to go over their land and then hammer it into
accents
their
on
armor,
their armor.
Into accents on their armor. I bet these ancient Broggians, if they were ever warfaring like that, did similar things to enemies' stuff.
I actually doubt it.
No?
And I'll tell you why.
Please,
because
please.
most of their enemies were probably magical of some sort.
Oh, holy shit. So they'd probably just burn it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
destroy it.
Yep.
Or put it somewhere safe.
Well, yeah. If it can't be destroyed, for example, then you have a duty to make sure no one suffers the consequence.
Correct.
Yeah. But, yeah, you don't want to be run out of town by a Broggian. Let me just say that. No. If the Broggians are getting violent,
The Abbey defense.
leave.
Yeah, Abbey
Just
defense.
fucking
guards are-
leave.
Likewise, you really don't want the Brogs to come break your cult.
No.
Broggian cult breakers are not nice people.
No.
Well, and this is what they're focused on.
Right.
Yeah.
That arm of them. That said, you don't see them very often.
No, they're not.
They're not.
a
They don't
marching
walk the
army.
streets.
Yeah,
No,
right. It's
no.
not.
They're probably a very, very rare
They
sight.
show
In
up
fact,
when they have to, and
Being
when
a
they
marching
do,
army would run counter to their job.
Yeah.
Right.
I bet if a normal Skypasser, a citizen not related to Brog at all, were to see one of these guys, he would know it, and he would immediately find shelter and immediately hide away, and immediately then the next day try to listen in if there was any news about what the fuck that was about, because oh my god, I saw one of those cult breakers, and
Yeah.
whoa,
yeah,
Did you
likely
see that
intimidating.
guy? Yeah.
yeah.
Likely very intimidating.
Dragging,
They wear literal stone.
dragging that hammer behind him.
Right.
Or Greatsword, or Zweihander, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah,
Giant
exactly.
fucking weapon.
Exactly. They hew their armor straight
From
the
stone.
rock. Yeah. No, if you think about it, because well, okay, let me rephrase that. If you had access to the geological information that I had, you would know that Skypass has access to metals that you probably can't find anywhere else in the known world.
Absolutely.
Right out of the heart of the mountain.
By virtue of the fact that mountain maybe
Skypass
wasn't
steel
always
is
there.
probably a rare
Yeah.
kept secret.
Skypass steel. Sky.
Do you know the riddle of Skypass steel? No.
His sword
touched
is sky
the
iron.
Yeah, no, it's tungsten.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It's the fact that there's no nickel in it.
There are alchemists, and there's actually a whole breadth of alchemy there.
Yeah.
Specifically non-magical alchemy.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Oh,
perhaps
yeah,
to
it
make a
has to be
distinction, let's call
non-magical.
it chemistry.
But yeah, right.
Yeah, with the
Non-magical.
Brogs cult something different. It's just to try
Yeah,
to
it's still-
disassociate.
It's still alchemy.
To them, it's alchemy.
It's
though
just that
there's
they
a-
believe that there's a road that alchemy can take you down that is dangerous and foul.
Okay. It's just like being a Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there are things you can do with alchemy that are wonderful.
Being
Yeah.
an alchemist automatically puts you under suspicion, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, exactly. And the products of alchemy are commonly used in things like surgeries, and
Yeah.
you
Milk of
you gotta
the
get
poppy.
got to get your iodine from
Yeah.
an alchemist.
Yeah.
I bet you that Skypass is the home of patent medicine.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
certain
Actually,
of it.
I had.
Like, contrary to whatever the Broggians themselves might want.
Yeah.
That's probably
Yeah.
true.
I
Sure.
was so.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I
and they
had-
probably sell primarily to people in Valor.
Yeah, so I actually,
Yeah.
I was
Straight from
going to ask
Skypass.
this question,
Uh-huh.
but we went down a really
It's
interesting
really just
path.
sour
I was
wine and
going
Keter
to,
salts, but here you go.
Do they have,
Not Keter salts.
do they have hospitals?
It's not really for Skypass.
I was gonna say Keter salts is a step beyond the pale.
Yep.
You can only get them using a magical process. That's why Mara was smuggling them in the first place.
Yep, absolutely.
You got a question?
They have hospitals?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what's
Surgeries.
Broggian? Yeah. Tell me about Broggian
Yeah,
medicine.
you might go there for medicine.
Yeah, tell me about Broggian medicine and surgery. So, like, and what I mean by that is, back in the day, if I had cataracts, there was only
Right.
one place I was fucking going, and it was a wonder that I could go there in the first place, and that was the Middle fucking East.
And that's because you could use chipped glass scalpels to do eye surgery.
To do eye surgery.
Yeah.
So, what's
This would be
Broggian
the
like?
sort of place you would go for that. The most cutting edge, actual surgical techniques
Yeah.
done with obsidian knives or.
What's the
or-
coolest
Do they
thing
do a
they
lot
can
of
do?
cadaver research?
Yeah, I would cut up and look. Yeah, absolutely.
They're allowed to do that?
Well, they know
don't
the
mind that?
body's not the soul, so,
Yeah, so-
it wouldn't have the same taboo that we have.
Right.
here.
Yeah.
That's how they learn.
Just I didn't think about it until just now. I was like, oh, they probably did that round surgical theater thing
Where they just take the body
yeah,
apart.
vivisect the body. But yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it, in Sky Pass, is there a Renaissance
Guess it
feeling
would be a
where
vivisection,
art and
but still.
science are
Not unless it was alive, but
Right. That would be grim.
that's not outside of the possibilities of
some mad
If they're like
scientist?
a bad person.
people.
Yeah.
Or they might do that with a dog.
Nice. Great.
Dog doesn't have a soul.
Dog doesn't have a soul.
That's a Christian belief.
No,
No, that's
a,
Broggian.
it's an animist
Yeah.
belief.
It's also an animeist belief,
Yeah,
too.
because anime.
Dogs don't come back when you kill them.
Right.
I
No
didn't know
animal
that.
does. Just the people.
I didn't
She
know
makes
that.
the
We've actually
animals.
joked about it. It's to be fair, that's a little confusing because
Yeah.
we have actually made jokes about animals coming back. But for the record,
Yeah.
animals don't come back.
Nope.
Well, not in a normal
Anime
way.
spun
It depends
all
on what
of
kind
the
of animal you
animals.
are.
Right.
From-
By
you
default,
could be a
the life
cat.
cycle of animals is they don't come back. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe the cat doesn't die.
Cats are maybe not the same, but
Yeah.
Right.
If there's a bast for cows, maybe cows aren't the same either. We don't know, though. Because I don't know the inner workings of cow theology.
correct. And nobody really does. So the idea that animals have or don't have souls is something that can be debated and
But
argued.
correct. But it's
But
an
we know that when-
animist belief and the
Right.
Broggian belief.
But we know that when you kill them, they don't come back.
Right.
Which implies something.
Well, and the Broggian,
Maybe it implies
the
that they're not
Broggians
smart enough to walk through the gate.
believe in anime and know that there is a realm there.
Yeah.
They just don't worship her.
Right.
Yeah.
They think of her as part of the cycle,
Right.
part of the way things are, and they study the way things are.
Yeah. No, I understand.
So,
So, is the feeling towards art in Sky Pass like that in the Renaissance, where art and science are mutual things, or is it more like nowadays?
does the art express a love of science? Because that's the only way you can.
Correct.
Or is it like nowadays,
It's-
where
Yeah. Well, so there are many artists, and the artists are all sort of
Intellectual.
postmodern, for lack of a better word,
Mhm.
in their expression. In that there is no, or very little anyway, religiously inspired art.
Yeah, so a lot of the artists are more
Rogue
like
likes art for aesthetic purposes, or for telling messages.
yeah,
or
so
for
they're
telling
more like
people's
Leonardo da
stories.
Vinci.
Yeah, I was gonna
They're
say, so it's
artists
more like,
on top of
you know,
sciencey
With
stuff on top
Vitruvian
of.
Man. Or,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Right, far less than
Okay.
a picture of enlightenment or
Yeah, that's
You
what
know,
that's what I
God
thought. I
touching
just
the atom.
I
Though even
wanted
that
to
one
be.
has a picture of a brain in it.
Yeah, it does.
does sneaky.
Yeah, it's very
Sneaky.
Yeah.
Still, no one there is
That's a good question, sir.
going to no one there is going to sponsor or patron that sort of
Childhood.
religious expression.
Segregated.
wow, that is a
fucking
really good question, sir.
Educated and fucking hard.
Yeah, are there schools?
Yes, absolutely.
there
Let me rephrase that. Are there public schools?
There is a school in Sky Pass you can go to that you don't have to pay to go to, and it's run by Broggian
Kind of like the
people.
way an English church might have worked. Or
Yeah, well, it is
maybe minus the indoctrination, but yeah.
it is a
Well,
mandate
actually, probably not.
for most Broggians to teach. That's what they're for, is to maintain the
Right.
base of knowledge,
Keep the light on.
keep the light on, right? So any abbey, if you go to them and be like, I need to learn, they'll take you in unless you prove.
Yeah. Teach you letters.
Yeah, and also absolutely.
Teach you numbers.
So there is a school, and they will teach you what you can learn
Cosmology. Yeah.
to some degree, right? All based kind of on where you're going. Like your teachers will guide you because they're likely a group of monks.
The roofs are covered in
So-
glass buildings.
There's not a lot of fun
So
stuff to
slanted.
do in Sky Pass,
But
like as a kid.
to shunt snow off them or the glass would break.
Absolutely true. Yes,
Yeah.
completely. So you know, there are very few parks. Not a lot of
Yeah, like if you wanted to
fun places to
where
play.
would you play? I guess
Hike.
in the garden,
In-
at the top of your house.
Right.
I
On top
hike.
of your house. Not really anywhere to hike. Well, the mountains are sheer.
Yeah, nowhere
Like
safe.
they're steep and
Yeah.
craggy and rock.
Well, yeah, if I was an adventurous kid, what I'd do is I'd go outside the city wall to maybe the lower parts until I got
Or
super
maybe
badass and learned how to
spelunking
climb.
the locally known cave.
okay.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
too.
So yeah, you
I'm
could,
talking
I could see
about the
that.
really
You could
adventurous
leave
kids.
the walls of
Yeah.
the city itself and go down the pass. In which case you do
Yeah.
what
So
basically
I'll bet you
anybody
that
would
for
do.
a lot of kids that probably never happens.
Well,
Right?
no, because your parents aren't going to let you just go.
You probably go to school,
willy-nilly outside of
and
the
you
city.
come home and you keep the house.
Yeah. Play with your friends.
Skypass sounds like it sucks to be a kid.
In the lounge, you know,
Yeah.
or the parlor, or the baths.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a place where most people spend their time indoors
Are there
because
Yeah.
the
Are
outdoors
there-
are not
are
hospitable.
there like all
Indoors.
ages coffee houses? Like are
Oh,
there,
certainly there are common houses, places where people can come and
Yeah.
gather and play games. And,
Yeah, but
you
I
know.
mean for
sing.
kids. I mean a lot of inns aren't going to let kids just hang out in the main room because it's
Right.
going to piss off customers.
Yeah, I would assume that this need is served somewhere. You know, the Brogane Skypass equivalent of an arcade. You know,
Yeah.
perhaps a pool hall or
Community center.
Community, yeah.
I mean, at least until greedy land developers want to tear it down, and then they have to like have a breakdance competition or.
Yeah, absolutely, a summer fun movie.
So-
Right. Absolutely.
So, we're getting towards the end of our show, and we haven't touched on how other than the fact that he's big and brutish kind of looking, right? How do I know that that's a cult breaker? Probably
I don't
decorated.
You probably
do.
don't.
You probably don't.
In fact, when
Yeah.
you meet them, they're probably not wearing armor. They're probably not all decked out. They're
Right.
probably some random schmo traveler in a leather coat.
Exactly.
Okay.
They probably breeze into town.
Yeah. Your
What's up, stranger?
Your clue would probably be that they were eminently prepared for cold weather.
Yep. Furs, huh? Down from the mountain, are you?
Summer.
Yeah, exactly. It's high summer.
Yeah. That's why I'm only wearing the minks.
Right. Exactly. I didn't have the heavy jacket on.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Sale, I would think it would be chimes, bells, percussion.
Lyrical content?
Yes. Lyrical content in the style of
Yeah, we're talking
stories.
like Eddas and stories. And,
Yeah. I was
Poetry.
trying not to say the word Edda, but yes. But stories.
Yeah, not really sing song, more like
Eddas are generally personal or family histories and long chains of lineage and things like that, meant to keep the histories because they didn't write them down.
Right.
So these guys write them down.
Sure, but they also have a duty to teach people who don't.
That's totally true. So yeah.
Yeah.
Stories,
So-
family histories,
Yeah. So
myths.
Would you
I guess
say
we're gonna
that-
say Eddas.
yeah, would you say that their acting style is very much Greek?
Oh, so if they were to put on theater, would it be?
Well, yeah, theater instruments,
Oh,
things
that's
like that.
That reminds me. I have a good
Yeah, well,
question.
it pertains to what Sailkite is asking. Would you
Right.
say that they're more Greek in their styles?
I think so. If
Because
I
even
understand
where
what
the
you're
Greeks did sing songs, most of their
Their
long
recitation.
blowout,
saying. Yeah, their recitations.
their recitations of poetry. It was, and Hermes did fly
yeah.
into the
well,
sky.
you're gonna tell the A and N again, or you're gonna.
Yeah,
Wind.
Dude.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the purest Brogane or Skypack style
Mm-hmm.
probably began there, yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Though at this point, they've got
It's
people
all
from
really,
many cultures
yeah, it's
living
really mixed
there.
up now.
You know, they're
Yeah.
they're
Are there,
avant-garde theater.
yeah,
You know,
which is actually what led to my next question. Are there quarters in, like, are there ghettos?
well, only in as much as there is the Brogane half of
I
the
was gonna
city,
say there's one.
and there is the
there's
everyone else,
the heathen
Right.
street, right? But,
right? And
The
that's
Brogs
more or
and the
less
heathens.
mixed because it was just sort of built organically as people
Yeah,
came and
not
built on
enough
top of it.
space for that
So-
kind of segregation.
Right.
It seems like
Well, and it's imagine one
like
large.
it's like no matter what, right? But
Well, yes, but imagine a large, like, apartment complex, you know, cubicles with a balcony, and then we added another bank
yeah, I get it.
and continued the balcony, and so
Quality.
you know, I live over here, yeah, you know, with these people, and you live over there, you know, and So maybe we shuffle around if I find that I'm living far from my family or my people, and I'd rather have that cubicle, and I can make a deal with that guy, and then we can swap, or
So
I can buy it. Or
What's it like to be homeless in Sky Pass?
cold.
Yeah, is there buildings in
Hungry.
which the homeless can,
is there
congregate?
I'm sure there's charity. Broganes are good people in general. They like to do that, so I'm sure there's something equivalent to a soup kitchen. It's not a very big city, so they probably encourage
I
you
was
to...
saying not a lot to go around. But,
Right.
yeah.
They probably encourage you to do things like sweep the streets for them and go do, hang bills or do something for their, what they used to call a work test.
Yeah,
But it's really, or more like what I experienced in Amsterdam, where if you get busted on a small civic
yeah.
crime, you end up having to do little work for the city. The guy I talked to was selling postcards.
Yeah.
And he gets the postcards for free every day from the city.
Yeah.
And his job is go out and sell as many as he can, and he can sell them for whatever he wants, and then bring back what he makes, and they give him shelter and food and stuff like that in exchange. And for him, it was working off a low-level drug crime,
Like community service.
like
kind
community
of.
service.
Right.
But the same thing could be true, especially like in Sky Pass for a homeless person. If you come begging succor from the church, they're likely to be like, well, right on, do this thing, we need it done, and then we feed them.
So, Sky Pass doesn't have that much room. How
Yeah, I think it'll be DNI just
draconic are they in their...
I mean, in the pen and paper, it can be up to your narrator.
punishing of other people who break rules.
Well, it depends on the rules you break. So there's a set of civic rules,
Yeah.
which are
Yeah.
which hold things like they kick you out of the city. There are some that they'll put you in prison for, but the jails are very small. They don't have a lot.
They
of
don't
space
have a lot of space,
or
so
food. So in general, they'll just kick you out.
kick
If
you
they've
out for a
kicked you out
time,
enough, they might
permanently
mark you,
brand you,
because that would be a
With a
permanent
hot poker?
thing.
Well, it's only so
tattoo
but-
you.
And then there's a level of criminal where
Yeah.
they just
Oh, so
Is
they
there a
will kill
mortality
you.
gate?
not in the city, at least not in the public half of the city.
So interesting. So, if there is one in the Brogging half, and I happen to not be,
There might be some that
Brogging-
migrate through on ley
and
lines
find
or whatever,
my
but
way.
you're talking about permanents.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
anchored.
There is an anchored permanent one somewhere, but it's not in the public area.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, but if you come through it from the other side, you would know.
You would, and you go, whoa, and the Brogging would
Move you
talk to you.
along.
maybe move you along.
Well, what if you lived across the street, right?
Yeah.
So you
Then-
were like dying.
Yeah, then you're like, dude, I
It's
know
right-
there's one.
it's right there.
fucking
I
there,
can
man.
see it,
It's in the
yeah.
Brogging fucking thing. Then you go through and they talk to you about it. You probably live in Sky Pass, so it's okay. I mean, they have to have some sort of method of dealing with this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm curious. Like, they just gank you and be like, don't come through that door again.
There's likely a sign. Welcome.
It's like, can't do the handshake.
You're
gone.
Yep. I assume, actually, they probably have two doors.
They just like walk you back
fences
around the
behind
other
me.
side.
There's
walk you back
probably
there.
two
Yeah.
gates. There's probably the gate into the sanctum and the gate out to the city.
Yeah, so you like come into a room with
Yep.
two doors. Like, this door doesn't. Oh, this one does.
Yep.
You know?
Or there's somebody minding it,
Right.
which is very likely.
Probably sitting at a desk.
Considering that the Broggings know all that.
Next to a
And
stack
how that
of
works.
Very simple robes.
Or something like that. Also doing papers. Here you go.
I'm pretty certain that there would be somebody minding that gate. At which
That's
point
always-
it's just shuffle them out
That's
the
always
door.
cracked me out about this.
You know, people come out naked.
About the
Well,
conceit?
if you don't spend time in Anima's realm and acquire things that you bring back with you, you're
Yes.
naked as a blue jay.
Yes.
Right? Like you're
Poof. Spirit doesn't need soul or clothes, dude.
right. So like I imagine that one of the charitable deeds done at an anchored mortality gate is take some clothes.
Yep, it's
Take some
nice
clothes,
linen robe.
You know.
Here you are. Cover yourself,
Yep.
please.
All right. So Serb had a couple of questions.
I'm laughing at them, in fact. Yes, and so the Brogging side isn't like, it isn't a ghetto so much, it's not like, hey, none of you non-Broggings on this street. That's in the Abbey. But the side that the Abbey is got its gates and area on is considered, that's just the Brogging area. There are still shops there. They're just Brogging shops. It's the old town, so to speak. It's not like the colored folks' side versus the white folks' side.
Yeah, but if I just moved in, could I buy a house there?
They don't sell houses there. So no.
Not enough room.
But it's all owned by the church and was built by the church. Well, the abbey, not the church. You can call it the church.
All broad places are churches.
So it's like there just wasn't any there for sale,
abbeys.
And they're not going to sell it.
Our abbeys.
Because
all
it's
broad
all
places of
part
gathering
of
are
that.
abbeys.
You could, if you were a monk and you were selling things from the abbey, sell them in the stalls there.
Sure.
That's what they're for.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And there's an inn there, and you could stay there.
Excuse me.
You could. It's just, it's more for the people visiting the abbey. There's plenty of heathen inns over on the other side of the city.
I'd imagine that trade.
So it's more like a metropolitan side and a rather homogenous side.
I'd imagine that trade in Skypass is more done out of crafted goods already and not really raw goods, other than maybe stone,
Metals.
Yeah,
And
metals, stone,
maybe gems. But you haven't said if they
probably semi-precious stones.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably even some.
Probably
precious
even
ones,
precious
but probably
stones.
not as many as you'd think.
Those
Yeah.
tend to be lower
Yeah,
in the mountain.
higher pressure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, carvings, stone, glass,
Finished works.
finish works though.
Yeah.
No, there's not a lot of raw material for them to export.
Yeah. Processed works too, I guess, as well.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
They export knowledge.
So
They
DNI
don't really
systematically bought all of the
export
property
knowledge.
in town.
Who?
DNI.
They
Yes.
collect it.
Consider it was a game.
Was that a long-term project?
If
This is why I said, it could be down to your narrator.
If,
Because in the pen and paper, we don't have to have the conceit that you have to go through our web store to buy your piece of property in town. So the stuff that is not owned by the Abbey in Skypass is owned by various private bodies.
Who all contract with DNI? Because who else would?
Because who else? Sure, that's the guys. They're the ones who write up the best paperwork.
Yeah, well, they handle all that for you, so that you don't
Yeah.
even have to. You just got to sign. They even mark on the little contracts where you got to sign.
Where you have little
Think
stickers,
about
the
it.
little arrow. Those are probably I don't even know. How do you
They're
gum a
fixed
piece
with,
of paper?
Yeah, fixed with milk. Evaporated milk. It's like
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Evaporated milk.
goat's milk in that case.
Can you imagine being the
Yeah.
So the lore tale, as far as your narrator and your games at home, can be that if you have need for a private entity to own a piece of property on the side that is not wholly operated by the Abbey, then you can define that. You can cut that out yourself. I could have made a deal with you. That can serve your story and should serve your narrative. If it were the Meow, of course it would all run through DNI, or through DNI with a different shell on the front, because, come on, it's a game. So maybe it would be Brogging Realty. Because it would really just be a front end for me to take your credit card information. Sell you a piece of digital information.
Right. JPEG.
Yeah, JPEGs. JPEGs, man. There's good business in JPEGs.
I have it on pretty good authority.
My buddy
You could
Roberts,
sell
Chris Roberts,
you could
man.
sell a JPEG for $700 some odd dollars.
Yeah. He's told me that he's doing pretty well selling JPEGs right now, so.
That said, those JPEGs are pretty.
They're really pretty JPEGs. And when they make models out of them, they're gorgeous. So yeah, that's the realty situation. We would use DNI if we had to make it suit your narrative. Privately owned stuff,
Yeah,
exists on the half of
the reality
as
was never
opposed
that-
from the Abbey.
The reality is that we were never going to present DNI as having a complete monopoly so much as that just happened to be the only way you could buy a house.
Right. Well, and if you wanted to sell one to another player or whatever, which we were talking about back in Meow days, but could never get our lawyer to sign off on.
Yeah, which sucked. Because
Which sucked,
honestly, the whole
because
design
that was the whole
done.
point.
Yeah, literally
Um,
before we ever laid out where the houses went, we knew players were going to buy and sell houses from each other.
Right. It was the whole goal. But
It just sucked that our lawyer literally for 4 fucking years was like,
I didn't. It wasn't my lawyer.
He was a good
Ba-dum-bum.
lawyer, actually, to be fair. I'm not.
No, I
I'm
totally
not
believe
talking
you.
any kind of shit. Just it was frustrated because we knew that it could be done, but we didn't like the ways that we would do it.
True enough. So yeah, that's how realty will have to go there.
Well, it's a JPEG Ponzi scheme.
I like that. It does get more stuffy the closer you get to the Abbey. Right. It just gets more. You're very broogy over here. If there's the Brog pickle that some people think is just too sour, but the Broggians tend to like that pickle, or maybe fish, pickled fish. Pickled fish, man. Have you ever had herring, the big gobs of pickled herring?
No.
Yeah.
No, I know exactly to what you're referring because it was my mother's favorite snack food.
See?
Just disgusting. But,
no. Where you would buy the pickled herring equivalent in Sky Pass would be on the streets nearer to the Abbey.
Inside, yep.
They also have those really
these
sharp brown breads.
Tears of wizards.
Right. The very best delicatessen in Sky Pass. It's right across the street from the gates to the Abbey.
Yeah, it's on the west side.
So it is.
Yeah, exactly, Zero. That was always my problem. My mom loved it.
But, yeah, I've had it before. Yeah, I don't know about no freaking Carl. Piss shark. Yeah, you gotta make all that stuff down on the coast anyway.
Yeah, and then bring it up. Yeah.
Some piss shark, boy.
Yeah.
I've totally eaten a kindly egg.
Gefilte fish is something else my family used to love and that I can't stand.
Gefilte?
Yeah.
I have never had it. Is it as...
It's white fish. It's not... It's just,
right, but is it pickled? Like, does it have that sharp, vinegary, sweet vinegar? Why did you put fish in vinegar flavor that the pickled herring gobs have?
You've described what's the word I'm looking for? A spectrum of fish flavor to which I have no experience. It tastes like fish, and it's disgusting.
Gotcha, okay.
And it smells terrible.
Garchomp. I don't know what garchomp is.
Yep, no mountain sharks. Well, except maybe blind mountain sharks, but that's just a rumor.
Blind cave mountain sharks, right?
Yeah, exactly. They don't have any eyes at all.
Right.
It's weird.
Why would they?
What? Just mouths. Oh my god, so many mouths.
So many mouths. Mouths in the darkness.
That's a different place. Mouths in the darkness. Well, there's a Cthulhu monster. Not Cthulhu,
Is there?
But a Lovecraft monster that is the mouths in the darkness.
There is.
Yeah.
It's not just mouths either, it's bubbling eyes.
And a while ago, back when in the revival days, there was a POI that may or may not have maybe been related to that guy right there that I designed.
It's true.
That involved an underwater river because underwater rivers are cool.
There's a
underwater river or
underground river.
Subterranean.
Yeah, subterranean.
Underwater
river.
rivers are also cool.
Underwater rivers are real
And
things,
they exist,
and they are cool.
They are. I
Do you
know.
know
I was just making sure that I
there's
understood what you
water?
were saying.
Yeah.
There's water.
Bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, there is. There is water at the bottom of the ocean.
Carry the water.
You can carry the water at the bottom of the ocean. That's at the bottom of the ocean.
Over the water. Carry the water.
The water's denser. It has more salt in it.
They are. They're super neat. Yeah.
There's a subterranean river in underneath Cambric Lane.
Yes.
There is. Yeah, it's in that story.
Yep.
There's also one rumored to be in Anacotha.
Really? I didn't know about that one.
It's significant, which is
Yep.
why it has not been talked.
I know of one that might...
It'll be the subject of a tale, because now I won't have one of you discover it like I was gonna.
Yeah. I do know of maybe an underground...
Correct, Serbiu. Yes,
Fucking
especially on the
underground
south
river
side.
underneath Valor.
On the south side of... there are towns at the bottom of both.
Running towards Tide's End.
Yeah, wait, you mean there's a river that
Underwater.
runs beside Valor?
Beside Valor? Oh.
Yeah, and then into Valor. Well, Valor itself has all the canals and the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but on the map, remember, it's basically beneath Valor until it joins the city. Until it pours into the canals.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Anyway.
What was the thing? Talking about the thing. Oh yeah, the towns that Sir mentioned. There's a port to the north at the end of at the base of the pass to the north. Very small, ramshackle, piratey. We call it the Freeport, but it's not called Freeport. It's gonna have a name, but doesn't have a name right now.
It's practically
Port.
not a town.
It's practically not a town, right? It's a place you can pull in boats, and shady people do. And that town, bubbles. so to speak, because it's useful for making the short cross between.
Well, and at certain times of the year,
there.
that makes it super popular. Well, at certain times of the seasonal cycle.
The seasonal
Excuse
cycle.
Me, I don't mean the year.
Yeah, I said the same thing like 4 times this stream.
Yeah.
And then the town on the south side is especially thriving in that it's the easiest place to get to between Sky Pass, Tides End, Fall Creek. So it's people go there to make all their trades, because if I can haul a bunch of crap from Tides End up there and sell it there and not have to go up the pass,
Yeah, or fucking ship it overland.
I can make more money.
Right.
So.
Boat can make it from Tides End to the other side, to the Freeport, 3 days maybe?
3, 4, yeah.
Maybe 4.
I would have to measure it.
Yeah.
Smugglers
It's
might
about,
even...
it's about the waters, really.
But you have to go around the water, and you have to dodge
But if you're willing to do that shit, you could get there pretty quickly. Whereas overland, that's probably 9 days,
Yeah.
Easily.
Even,
maybe more.
Maybe
easily,
Yeah.
You're totally right.
Because remember...
And then you're
depending on
there,
what
and
your
you're
thing
like,
is,
am I
might
going to go
wanna
up
be
or...
slower/faster.
Well, yeah, and then
Black
you still
Desires.
have the pass to deal with either way.
Yeah.
right?
Correct, right.
And depending on...
The bubbling may be literal, you're right. You are right.
Yeah, totally, sir. Absolutely.
And,
Yeah, I bet that's true. And I'll bet you there are people that make their living just carting shit up
Both
and
in
down
the-
the pass.
Both
Yeah.
in the light and in the shadows.
yeah.
For sure. Yes.
And depending on how shady you are, you might also bring in trade to and from Sky Pass, from Anacotha across the
Little
From
strait,
that
the
little
channel there,
yeah,
bayou
from the-
town.
Yeah, from the little bayou town, there's a strait that
It's
separates.
a fishing village.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's actually a fishing village.
fishing
We went through this.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Village town.
Yeah.
It's a bayou swampland's what it is.
It's bayou.
What they do down there, they fish.
Yeah, they do.
They play the.
They probably also gather peat.
They probably do the whole
They play
marsh
that-
butter thing.
Yeah, the Anacothan percussion / stringed instrument. It's stretched animal hide over a hoop with strings on it.
Oh, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe they have their moonshine jugs.
Yeah, they probably do. And for some reason, people play the spoons. Yeah.
They put too much pepper on their fish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could you imagine though, like jug bands, but with an Egyptian style? You know what I mean? That would be.
I can, in
That
fact.
would be pretty amazing, actually.
Not yet. Honestly, there are a lot of smaller POIs that I know what they are, I know where they are, but I haven't given them a good name, or I've given them a name that I then look back on a year later and was like, I don't like that.
If you look at our design docs, not that we'll make them public, but if you did,
well, the
you
map
would
will
see-
have the names of all of the major trade
you would see
stops.
lots of places where the POI is named in brackets.
Right.
And this is like us going, this will do for now, but we know it's not good enough.
Right, which is why I used the Freeport, because, okay, it is a port that is free, which basically means it's a place where boats can come and there is no authority. I'll probably give it a colloquial name. It probably has 2 or 3 colloquial names, because that's how naming happens. I just haven't written it down, and I don't want to give you a false lead, so I haven't. By the time the map is done, that place will have a name that will be written in red ink on the map, and that's actually one of the things I'm doing in the dark on the side right now. Is I have the map, I have all the POIs there, and I'm coming up with names I like for them. So some of them have names that I don't want to tell you because I don't really like the name so much. Yeah, Serb gets it right. It's the village by the river. Why? Because the names that keep popping in my head are really dumb, and I don't want to just say one and be saddled with it.
The Tad of Ravilla.
That's generally why if I can't figure out a good name within 5 or 4 minutes,
Keep writing.
I'll just call it Buttholesville and then go on.
I don't know about Buttholesville, because you
tell
never want to
Let me
shit.
tell you a story, actually. I worked on a project where they didn't know the main character's name when I first started working there. And the project had already been in development for a couple of years.
Yep.
Yeah.
I worked on a game like this.
So long, it had been in development so long, in fact, that 2 different groups of people had used 2 different tokens for his name. One of them called him Maxon.
Yep.
The other called him
Banana.
Right? And neither Search or Replace, when they finally gave him a name, had caught every instance. This included in, say, I don't know, dialogue. And so our first batch of recorded dialogue made references to Maxons and bananas.
Yep.
We
Maxon
paid somebody
true.
hundreds of dollars to record that.
Banana.
So that's why I use brackets, because it is very obvious when you see the brackets that somebody forgot to change the fucking name there.
Yes. Bracket, butthole,
That's fine. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can put whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
Irrelevant,
Yep,
right?
that's a medicine tactic variable.
Yeah.
Though it's nice if it hints to what you're doing. So, like, for a long
That's
time...
why it's Ville and not town.
For a long time...
Butthole versus Butthole Town.
No, I totally get it. For a long time, Fall Creek
Yeah.
was Waterfall Lake Native America.
That's
in my books.
That's
God.
sadly true. Yeah.
Or Nat Am. I did that one too. Native American. Okay, I got it. I remember. That's Pacific Northwest. Pac NW. That was another one I used. But until I called it Fall Creek, it was Pac NW, amongst other things.
Amongst other things.
But yes, friends don't let friends record banana dialogue.
Yeah. There's another one, but it's worse. And we won't.
Oh,
share
that's
that
about
story.
that's about programmers writing programmer tests and then forgetting to delete them out of the database.
Right, before they ship them to maybe the people that pay your checks. And maybe they ship them with incredibly lewd things in them.
Yeah, with Trump levels of nudity and
Yes. Search terms that might land you in Pornhub.
right. Search terms that could only let us be clear.
Let us be very clear. Yeah, that was a fun one to explain. No, I swear that I did not write that content.
Oh yeah, the best part about that was like literally they were like, "What the hell, guys?" And we were like,
That was not in the build when I left last night.
"I didn't do that one."
Yep.
Why would you do that in the code?
Well, because you, as an engineer, you need test data to make sure that your stuff works as you're writing it.
Yeah.
So you fill in anything.
Right.
And maybe it's 3:00 in the morning,
And
you
you're
find
kind
that
of irritated.
Really funny. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
This is actually a problem. This is actually such a well-known problem that in certain companies, say for example
They'll fucking fire
Sony
you.
Online Entertainment, there's a flag that has to be manually set by a designer on a quest before it is allowed to be seen by the engine.
Yep.
By the publishing. When you hit build and you go, this is a real build, anything that doesn't have that flag does not get copied over.
Yeah.
So that will never happen.
Right.
Unless, of course, you're testing the flag feature.
Of course. That's fucking
I
hilarious.
know an engineer that actually can't get work from particular companies because of
that.
embedded lewdness.
Yeah.
That then got seen by the client.
Yeah, who was literally, you need to fire that guy, and what are you going to do if you run that company? You're going to fire that guy, 'cause
Right.
otherwise
What else
it's
are you
lose the
gonna
money,
do?
right?
Right.
So it's actually a serious problem.
Yep. So, make your medicine tactic variables.
Make sure you know they're there.
Brackets.
Brackets.
Yep.
Yeah. The most important
Maybe
part
stick
of
with
bu-
ego or banana.
Yeah, even banana's a little.
Ah.
Like you could have slipped and gone eggplant emoji, and that's
Yep.
What? That's okay. You can put an eggplant
emoji, facial emoji, brackets.
Yeah. What?
I hear eggplants are very good for your skin.
Oh God,
What? We don't have hieroglyphics in American.
it's getting getting hot in here.
I know. Whew. Maybe it's just me. So, are there any more questions about SkyPass you would like to throw at me while we are on the topic of SkyPass?
Are their buildings decorated, or are they just
Stone.
Just
Not
no
a lot of
gargoyles,
relief.
no-
Some gargoyles, but that's really more about individual personal taste. The Broggy aesthete is very austere.
Yeah.
So, They're
During
more
like
about on their buildings. Their architectural aesthete is very austere.
So if I owned a
geometric
mansion from
and-
the outside, is it just a big block? Like a block size building? Or?
If you were a Brogian, that's how you'd like it. You'd like it to be blocked. Maybe some, all of your
slanted
angles
roofs and
because of the
garden,
drainage and
greenhouse and all that shit.
but way more Frank Lloyd Wright than Baroque.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. That's neat.
Because
even
the
more
buildings-
Frank Lloyd Wright.
See,
than
I saw it as more gothic in my head, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
because
more. I'm gonna mess these up. More Deco than Nouveau.
Yeah. Okay. I get it.
Because the buildings are so
Yeah, more
close
simple
together.
lines,
Is
More
there
simple lines,
yeah.
smooth, etc.
is there that New York sort of crosswire thing going on, or do they hang up like canvases to block snowfall from certain areas on the road? Like the buildings are close together and they're skyscrapers.
And they're built. Well, they're not skyscrapers. They're 3 or 4 story.
Those
4
are
stories at the top.
Yeah, those are skyscrapers in
For the
medieval
time.
mines.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're tall, and they're bound close together.
Right.
Do you get
Like a stone Amsterdam.
Yeah. Do you get the?
I appreciate that
the
stuff.
do you get the? Two families are working together, and so they hang lines across each other's way, and they hang clothes to dry. Do you get the, this is a meetup spot by common people here, so the people of the neighborhood hung a big canvas thing over this side of this road over here and keeps it
That might be
covered
true
so
in
that
some
people don't.
neighborhoods.
Yeah,
I
it might
can
be
see
true in
that
some
happening.
neighborhoods. Yeah.
Well, I was wondering
and
if
in
they
on
are
the-
cool with that because the
on the
Bronx
eastern
are-
side,
yeah.
far more of those clotheslines and stuff. But you don't really want to hang your clothes out. They're likely to freeze.
Well, yeah, but I meant during the summer would be the best way to dry.
That
your
would be the
clothes.
best time
because it also rains.
Put it on.
It
So-
rains up there? I thought the rain. I thought it would
actually
go
it rains
around.
on mountains all day.
Rains
Oh,
on.
okay.
Actually, it rains on mountains more than here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
The more you
you know,
know.
it can happen, but it's probably rare to hang your clothes out that way.
Okay.
That said, what you will see are people storing things
Mhm.
in their topmost sections of their homes.
Yeah.
And so there are there are arms that can
Hoists.
right?
Yep.
So you'll open a big bay window on the very top floor, and there's be a
Yeah.
hinged arm that reaches out that has about a block and tackle here.
Hanging
Yeah.
on a hook. Yeah.
Right, so you can lift goods that you've had delivered to your home,
Directly
Yeah.
into
right,
the house.
right there in front of you, right up into your house, and store them.
Neat.
Right,
Yeah.
and this is
I like it.
this is how you deal with having so little space.
Yeah, of course.
And having to build up that way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. How many people die from heavy things falling on their heads every year?
So
a number.
So you said 5 stories.
And
is
not
the tallest?
insignificant.
4.
Though they're pretty good with winches these days, so
Yeah.
they try not to destroy their shit and kill
Bill
their
Laurel
people.
and Hardy.
Is
hijinks.
there- Is there any tallest building there that peaks up that is this is the tallest building ever in
I'm certain that there
Shore?
is. I haven't named it.
Okay.
Also, the Abbey is
it's
tall
totally
because
cool.
it builds
Well,
up
but
into the mountainside itself.
Doesn't it also in stereotypical
Oh,
religious
so the
fashion
Abbey
have
comes
a
straight out
spire?
of a mountain?
Yeah, built directly in.
That's really cool. So it probably doesn't have a spire
big's
because
the
it has
Abbey?
the peak. Yeah,
Large,
large.
of indeterminate size on the inside.
Well, because you don't know how far back.
Because you don't know how far back he goes.
Is
and I'm going to leave
is
that
it bigger
to you.
on the
Aside
inside
from
than
the
it is on the
core,
outside?
I'd say 5, tall wise.
Is it bigger on the inside than it is on the outside?
No,
It's blue.
not. But I do
Yes,
want
it
to
is
live some
because it's
amount.
built into the
It's
mountain.
built in the-
So it can't be bigger
But
on
it
the
can't be-
inside than it is on the outside. It's
The
just that
outside's the shell.
hides how big it is.
Right, and that's exactly where I'd like to keep it right now. I
Yeah.
will define in the city guidebook. I'll define the core areas, but I'd like to leave some of that nebulous because based on what world it is,
You
like
want-
what
You
year
want
it
space
is.
for people.
your
to write their
narrator
own
wants to
adventures
write
and
stuff.
stuff.
Correct.
No, I totally.
Well, and you need
when I
that
say how big it is, I kind of mean more along the line of how many monks live there?
hundreds.
Hundreds. Okay, so it's big.
It's big, yeah. 5 stories is probably about right for its core, built up that you can see. But then it goes back,
Yeah.
and there may be
4
that hidden
times its
dumbwaiter
width
that
or
goes to
whatever,
the room that the old monk built that no one knows about, where he
yeah,
keeps his
cell.
thing,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Yeah.
we want room for that for the narrators. So
It's not exactly a broad question, but just so we know the not etymology.
that's funny,
but,
sir. That's cute.
But just so that we know the right terms to use, we know that all
I also know that
gathering
for us.
places of Brogine order under the Brogine order are abbeys. Nodens.
Mm-hmm.
What are those places called?
Churches, cathedrals,
Churches and cathedrals. Anima.
churches and cathedrals, or temples, depending.
Or
Depends, well,
temples.
Because
Yeah,
anima,
depending on which culture the animist worship
right?
comes from.
Because if it's you can have a temple to anime.
Yeah.
You can have a cathedral to Nodens that will have within it
and
a nave with anime stuff.
and
in it,
this
a
might be
temple to
racist,
anime.
but you said that there. I think I remember you saying.
was this racist?
Yeah, this might be culturalist, rather. This might be culturalist, but I think I remember you saying that there wasn't a large building in the way that the Vikings used to worship Tyr and Nodin, not Nodin, but
For Brog?
Odin. No, not for Brog. No, because we know what Brogs are called. Those are abbeys.
Oh no, sure.
For Hylity and the
No.
Hammer of the North.
That's right. The Felkirk deities are generally worshipped in nature.
Yeah, those are circles and shit like that.
Okay.
naturally occurring.
So it's
places.
not
the
culturalist.
rough
I know.
hewn-
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
the equivalent of like a
It would druid circle or
cathedral
something.
is probably
Stonehenge.
some valley hidden in the mountain that has
Right.
been cleared and set aside for some purpose.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
Red rocks before they put the benches in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
That's kind of
um,
the image I had in my head, even.
I can't ask
Or like
about any
Petra without the
Anacoth. Well,
carving.
Petra without the carvings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Natural
Bast.
natural places.
does Bast have any houses of like?
Worship.
Does anybody like?
In
I've
Skypass?
sort of devolved into religion now, but
Yeah.
are there any known houses of worship of Bast?
Not in Skypass.
Not in Skypass.
Certainly there are people that follow Bast. They
Well,
don't
I'm
do
in
any
Grey
of their
Shore in general.
stuff
Is there any? Is there a house
Certainly.
of Bast?
There are temples to Bast in every major city that allows them.
Huh. Except for Skypass.
Valor, Crowns Rock, Tides End. There's
Okay.
no open temple to Bast in Skypass.
Okay.
Well, and in Crown's Rock, it's not exactly.
Open.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, yeah. Didn't
known
I write
about.
that place? Isn't it like more like a house that was not a manor, but a bigger house that
Kind of.
had like a cat name to
Kind
it?
of, yeah.
Yeah, and there were only females working there and stuff like that.
I like Serb's comment. I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. No. Bast was the no. Isn't there one Anacothan deity that is kind of known
Bastet.
about? No, it's Bastet. Okay, so it is. Yeah, and Bastet's that one.
There are others. What
There
about
are a
home?
few others. Hoenn?
Yeah,
Hoenn's
the
Hoenn
crossroads.
is welcome basically at every city there is.
Every door.
Every
Nobody
doorway,
hates
crossroads. Those are probably holy places for.
And by saying nobody hates Hoenn, I don't mean that there aren't any anti-Hoenns out there. There
No,
could
actually,
be
I
a cult of
I can
anti-Hoenn. There could be a couple
I can
different
think
ones.
of a particular god.
Yeah, me too.
that
And
doesn't
there's-
like Hoenn.
Correct.
Yeah, totally.
It might-
but
it
in
might even
general,
be
if you were
Hoenn
like,
himself.
I'm a follower of Hoenn, no one's running you
That's
out
a
of their
that's
city.
a popular theory anyway.
It's what?
That Hoenn and the Hand
Morcott?
of Hindrance are the same god.
That is a popular theory.
I like
amongst
to-
some
Yeah.
that study.
Yeah. I like two-faced things, so generally in my head, just because my aesthetic likes that sort of dichotomy,
Yeah.
I like the symbol of the hand of hindrance.
Also, those that
and
believe they're brothers.
Hoenn, I like believing they're the same person, but that's my personal aesthete. Don't let that influence you people in discovering your
certainly
own personal aesthetes for the
Few
gods
out there
of Telos.
that have thrown that crackpot theory around.
Yeah,
There are also some that think they're brothers.
fighting brothers.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Actually, they're luchadors. So.
But very rarely,
They
very
got the
rarely,
masks
if you
and
were to
all
show up wearing a wheel,
Yeah.
is somebody going to be like, "Oh, kick that fucker out"?
Well-
He worships Hoenn. Ugh.
Fucking
Right.
Hoenn opens
It's like, how many
everything.
Ganesha haters do you like? Do you know
Well,
that actually know what Ganesha's about?
not very many.
Yeah.
I was going to say, sadly, I mean, let's just say that 2016 has made me aware of more people who would hate them than I had realized.
There are a lot of haters.
Are there any other gods that I missed? Just so that everybody here knows.
There are lots.
Well, no, the ones that they know. Of course, the ones that they know.
Right.
Any other gods that commonly known gods that I missed?
that have openly no.
Siren.
No, Cirith is Cirith and the
Cirith is
hammer
worshipped
and worshipped in
bar
nature.
in the
Sirith,
land.
Dema, Hylathi.
Oh,
Dema,
Dema.
yeah.
There it is.
Dema is
Oh, I didn't say Cirith. I said Hylathi.
Dema
Yeah,
worship
that's
is
why I
related
brought
to
up
animist
Yeah.
worship. So anywhere you find an animist, you'd find
They're like
somewhere you
Jains
can
and
light a
Buddhists.
candle to Dema.
They're like
Um,
Jains and Buddhists.
Actually, they're less divided than Jains.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Jains and Buddhists only look alike from afar.
Right.
Oh.
They're kind of like
Oh
people
yeah,
that
yeah.
revere
Actually, you're
Yeah,
right.
Jainism is not Buddhism.
No,
in any
it's
way,
at
shape, or
all,
form,
right?
yeah.
It's much more like those that worship or that give obeisance to Mary with regard to Catholicism.
Interesting. Okay.
Right.
That's an interesting line, but I can see why they're very two different religions as well.
Lighting
They
a
just-
candle
they hang
for,
out together because
for Mary
they're
is
kind
part
of
and parcel
nice.
to the Catholic
They,
experience. But
they
it's
share
also not.
similar morals.
Yeah, similar aesthetics.
Correct. There is a very large gap. Correct.
Yeah.
Also, funny sale.
All right, well, given that it's 5:30, it's probably about time to call it quits. We might revisit the cities again because I don't think we got through any of them completely.
Yeah, they've
Of
all.
course, yeah.
Yeah. Though
Because
all
we
have
got new questions with
Yeah,
this.
but we'll give that some
city and-
time. So
Yeah.
next week, it's going to be a so you want to be a
correct.
so you want to be
So
a
you
what?
want to be a what? Where are we going to go with that? What do you want to be?
What do you
Salvager.
want to be?
What do you want to be?
I'm interested in salvaging, but what about you guys?
You're more important than my interests.
Do you mean ocean salvage?
That's the only thing that the skill in the revival game was related to.
Okay.
If you want to make salvaging more expansive than that, you
It's
should
just
tell
a
me
word.
because I
It's
am
just a big word. That's all.
because I am making those skills.
Sure.
It is a big word, but it is
It's rec
tied
raising.
to a skill.
Wreck raising. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wreck raising?
Yeah, salvaging.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, ocean.
Yeah.
Or I guess on the lake.
Sure, but it's wreck raising.
Yeah.
Get the boat up there to the lake. What a pain in the ass.
Oh, it
So,
was an
yeah.
important skill in the Meow because if your boat sank, unless you could get it raised,
Yeah,
it was
was
gone.
gone.
And that boat might have cost you $100.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
but that wreck would be out there.
It's
so
also a
anybody
good,
could raise
Could
that
raise
wreck.
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a good treasure hunting skill. It
Oh, yeah.
fits
There were-
Telliston's aesthetic.
There were going to be more than player wrecks out there.
Aesthete.
Yep.
Aestet. No, I like aestet. Potato, potato.
It's that. It's like
Rock and roll.
German Greek.
It's staff.
Estet.
STADT.
Oh. So yeah, no suggestions.
Yeah, I said
A day
salvager,
in
but
the life.
whatever.
A day in the life.
How about, well, is salvager too specific? What about treasure hunter?
Yep, treasure hunter's a little broader.
Is that
Hunter
better?
Probably a little broader. I think that's a wide open, fertile
Well,
landscape
treasure is
for question
treasure,
asking
yeah.
because one of the core kind of pillars of Teleston gameplay is discovering the
Investigation.
past,
Maybe
archaeology.
Maybe so you want to be a man catcher, bounty hunter?
Bounty
Man
hunter's
catcher.
interesting.
That's actually that would be a fun one too, and actually,
Who would you work
it would
for?
change the tone of what we've been
Depends.
talking about too, because we've been talking a lot about the role play side of things, and the warriors are very role play y, and they have their characters and stuff. I have a bias towards the fighter, the commonplace fighter in D&D, in thinking that he doesn't role play often enough because it's a little bit more violent and about the fighting. But man catching in Teleston should involve lots of
Yeah, it's
investigation.
basically PI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
do.
the fighting part of it is only like this much, like that.
Yeah.
I like that. A man catcher.
Who are you gonna talk to?
Yeah.
How are you
No
gonna
good
find
to
out?
be
How you
dead.
gonna get in good?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of room for good and bad man catching too, because you could be
like a
slaver,
raider of
or you could
tombs.
be
A tomb rider.
a Tomb Raider.
Rider.
I
Writer.
get it right. Yes, a Tomb Raider.
It's cultural. It's cultural.
Wouldn't archaeology have to be
A funerary investigation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Tomb Raider,
I'm a
Manhunter,
tombologist.
Salvager.
It's a new field of study. Yeah,
Uh-huh. We have some. They're called archaeologists.
yeah tombologist. So.
I kind of feel like we should just do that the world over. Dig them all up. Figure out what they were like.
Yep. I agree. Honestly. All right. Well, we'll have to think about
Yeah,
that because I think
we got an idea.
I think Salvager and PI are both very good
Yep,
ones.
these are fertile.
Yeah. Well, PI is different than
Let's,
man catcher.
Well, but they're almost the same job. In fact, I bet you in most places they are literally the same job.
Yeah,
I bet you
probably.
that PI is a person finder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
Find
what
lots
is
of
lost?
overlap.
Souls is the old 30s radio series. would say.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny as a profession, a party leader. Yeah, that's a
No, expedition leader.
expedition leader, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah you can do that.
Interesting.
Also, and we haven't
Well,
done.
let's move that discussion over
Yeah.
to our
Over
Discord.
to the Discord, indeed.
We honestly should.
Here,
Link
I'll
it up.
put a link so that you guys can see it in the chat there.
Thank you, Miss Bot.
That second to the last one is the Discord link. And if you have suggestions, jump in and say hi.
Yeah,
We'd love to hear 'em.
If you're new, we would love to see you follow or do something else along those lines while we're still talking to you.
I
We won't
don't
hear
have
'em.
Twitch alerts because that's
Oh, it will
they
make
may
big
have
loud
been following and
noises.
hosting us this whole time.
And we
And we
never
wouldn't
know.
have
And we would
known.
just not know. So
Thanks
if you did, thanks.
Absolutely. Cheers. Good health and glory to your
Why did
names.
my computer decide to restart?
Because Windows.
It's been telling you for the last 45 minutes
It
that
has.
it needs to restart for a reboot, and you
But,
just got to click the button to tell it not to.
I was talking.
It doesn't know that. You don't have a microphone, so no Cortana.
Cortana, don't turn off my computer.
Too late.
Yep.
It's getting Windows ready.
Oh well. Well,
I think we're going to check out then. Thank
Yep.
you
Yep.
guys.
See you guys
Come on
later
back.
tonight at 11:30 p.m. here on the DOP
Well,
crew.
Not you. That'll be Verde.
we have Verde Manzana. You'll have to put on the green hat.
I don't have a green hat.
Well, you know, the green light.
Gonna have to
I have a green light.
You don't have to put on a green light.
But you do.
But I
Yeah,
have a
you do.
green vest, too.
Actually, you should.
Yeah.
A Verde vest.
Yeah, Verde vest.
A Verde
Verde
vest.
vest and a verdant light, yes.
Absolutely.
Thanks for showing up. We have
Peace,
stuff
guys.
every night of the week. Tell your
We
friends,
do.
come back again, and look at the schedule and do the stuff. Like us up, do all the stuff that you do when you like a person, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for showing
See
up.
you next week.